Chapter 1241. There were no decent cities in the Devil Continent, or perhaps there was no concept of cities here. The places where people gathered were just around the devil cultivation sects, where some random buildings were built, and were all nearby devil cultivation sects. Most of the gathered here were disciples who wanted to challenge the devil cultivation sects, or who had hunted some demon beasts to sell to wealthy disciples. The original devil cultivation sects was either destroyed or annexed. The current devil cultivation sects was something Chen Shang had never heard of before, and only the people who frequented the devil continent would know the details of the current devil cultivation sects. And Chen Shang was going to a sect called demonic sect, because the divine devil cult was hiding in a dangerous place next to this sect. Soul Captivating Mountain. It is said that those who enter will mysteriously die, and there are no scars on their bodies. However, the sea of consciousness is empty, and has traces of having received a mental attack, as if their souls have been sucked out, and those who have died will die with a very peaceful smile on their faces. Chen Shang told Long Shui about the dangerous place and sneered, "Looks like there's no doubt about it, divine devil cult. They will definitely strengthen their own divine soul by devouring the souls of others. This kind of fellow really has many tricks up his sleeve." The person who created the divine devil cult called himself Heavenly Slave, was naturally a guy who cultivated the divine way and the devil way. Furthermore, in Long Shui's eyes, only the strong people at the peak of the divine way could contend against her. That dangerous place has appeared for more than 20 years. It seems like DTN was still unstable back then. They really did come from somewhere else and they don't have any plans to take control of the devil cultivation sects now. However, it looks like they will make it soon. Chen Shang said. Their god demon pool has nurtured quite a few devil cultivator who possess divine soul. There should be quite a few disciples from their divine devil cult. Long Shui asked. It's not that, they do not have many disciples in the divine devil cult, because they are used to traveling alone, and most of them would die in the outside world. Their method of cultivating the divine way would consume a lot of their lifespan, so it is normal for them to be killed wherever they go. They have no effect on killing the devil cultivator, and would need some young, untrained people to do it. That's good too, those guys are asking for it. This time, we have to kill them all. Otherwise, who knows how many of them will die in order to let them live for 10 more days. Long Shui said somewhat angrily. Chen Shang had already arrived at the gathering area of the devil cultivator near the extreme demon sect. He looked around to see the overall strength of the devil cultivator. Are you going to transform into that arrogant young master and sneak into that divine devil cult's lair? Long Shui asked. No, it's very difficult to pass off as him. The people inside are all cultivators, not to mention that his father is very strong. If I were to be discovered, it would be hard for me to escape from that place. Chen Shang said, although he had already killed 3 strong people in the divine devil cult, it did not mean that he could eliminate the divine devil cult easily. This was, after all, a gathering place for deity cultivators. Furthermore, they were also training in the demonic path. The experts within it were extremely terrifying. If I were to go alone, it would be difficult to deal with the divine devil cult, but I don't need to completely destroy them, as long as I destroy their foundation. The god demon pool is especially important to them, because it is a key thing for them to breed new blood. This was also the reason why a few disciples of Icy Wind Valley were lured to join the divine devil cult at that time. Furthermore, after entering, they would definitely be imprinted with gods and devils, controlled by the divine devil cult, and wouldn't be able to control themselves. I need to refine some destruction ice seal Dan. When necessary, I can deal with a large group of people. Chen Shang thought for a moment, this was the only thing he could do. He was an alchemist, using pills to strengthen himself was the usual method used by the alchemist. It was just that while other people had raised their own cultivation, Chen Shang had refined that kind of terrifying destructive ice seal Dan. A small pile of profounding powder could create a destructive ice seal Dan that could destroy a huge city. Chen Shang found a quiet place. It was a mountain cave. This kind of cave was very common in Devil Continent, and they would need a few spar to stay in it. The formations used by the Devil Continent were very crude, and Chen Shang had to modify it himself inside the cave to prevent noise outside. This mountain range was where the Devil Cultivator-s gathered, and these Devil Cultivator-s were not only born and bred in the Chen Martial Continent, they were also from the Devil Realm. This place was also a place that posed a great threat to the Chen Martial Continent, so after he returned, he had to make sure that other powers were not alerted. Chen Shang was already familiar with the way to refine the destruction ice seal Dan. Furthermore, he did not need to use the foreseeing alchemy, he only needed to use the heavenly alchemy, and he also had many high-level profounding which could be used to refine for a very long time. Although the majority of the profounding he plundered from the Fire Divine Palaces were relying on their superior strength, none of them had treasures inside. Those were hundreds or thousands of profounding, but he didn't have a single one. After 3 days, Chen Shang had refined dozens of pills. He did not have time to refine powerful super ice seal dan, he had only refined a few high-quality destructive ice seal dan. If a large group of people besieged him, these ice seal dan would help him escape easily. The old man and the young lad that were slapped out by the divine devil cult did not die, but they were still imprisoned inside the square cauldron. As long as they did not die, their life origin orbs would not shatter, and the divine devil cult did not know that 2 of their higher status had already died, so the divine devil cult would not be so cautious, and it would be much easier for Chen Shang to take action. Chen Shang arrived outside the soul-captivating mountain. It was deathly silent, and at dusk, it looked extremely eerie. From time to time, a gust of cold wind would blow, and the caws of the crows would cause people's hair to stand on end. He was not afraid at all of anything that could hook one's soul, because he knew that it was done by the people of the divine devil cult. Furthermore, he had turned into a flying bug, and based on the memories he had obtained, he flew towards the direction of the divine devil cult where DTN was hiding. Chen Shang flew within the forest and quickly found the familiar road that he plundered from his memories. However, there were a few people walking slowly in front of this road. "Isn't that old man's aura from devil race?" Long Shui said in shock. A person from the devil race actually appeared here. Chapter 1242. Chen Shang felt that the 2 powers that posed a great threat were Fire Divine Palace and this divine devil cult. Fire Divine Palace was still alright, at least in the dark, and outside of Chen Martial Continent at that. But the divine devil cult wine was different. It was hidden very deeply and was still inside the Chen Martial Continent, their hands had even reached inside the Icy Wind Valley. If not for the fact that the Icy Wind Valley had a loyal elder like Pan Yunlin, the Icy Wind Valley might have already fallen into enemy hands. This devil race is actually 2 timing, and at the same time, has allied with the Fire Divine Palace, and now he's even coming to interact with the divine devil cult. Chen Shang sneered in his heart, and followed along. "Clan leader, our god demon pool is only enough for 2 people. Your request is for 5 people from your devil race, I'm afraid we can't do that." An elder of the divine devil cult said. The person from the devil race was actually the patriarch, and he had come to seek refuge in the divine devil cult. In that youth's memories, he said that the energy in the celestial demon pool wasn't enough, which just so happens to be enough for 2 people. Sister Yu and Sister Mei Yao can develop divine soul now, as long as I get my hands on it. Chen Shang said somewhat excitedly. They wanted to cultivate the divine soul a long time ago, but had no methods and did not know what to do. In the end, they could only give up, and now that they finally had the chance, although they had lost their cultivation, cultivating the divine way was still okay. In any case, they had a lot of time here, and there was still Long Shui, a dragon who had a high attainment in the divine way of cultivation. In that case, it can only help 2 people from our devil race to develop divine soul. The devil chief frowned. He felt that this was a bit of a loss. The elder of the divine devil cult shook his head. There is only 1 spot in your devil race, the other is given to the giants of the other forces. As long as he could win over a powerhouse, he would be able to win over an entire power. Therefore, he had to maximize the benefits from this other spot in the god-demon pool, or else divine devil cult would lose. If your devil race is not willing, then forget it. The elder of the divine devil cult did not seem to care about the devil race at all. He didn't want to miss out on this rare opportunity. Although he would be temporarily controlled by someone, in the long run, he felt that this would be very worthwhile, but if he was the only one remaining, the other elders of the devil race would definitely not agree to it. Right now, it was equivalent to selling the entire devil race to the divine devil cult. Chen Shang secretly laughed in his heart, because the elder of the divine devil cult did not tell the devil clan leader about his longevity. If the devil clan leader gave birth to a divine soul infant, he would definitely set foot on a path of no return, and would definitely sink deeper and deeper into despair to extend his lifespan. This divine devil cult had been with DTN for a while, but had wasted a lot of the water in the god-demon pool. They had helped many devil cultivator to cultivate their divine soul, but many of those devil cultivator were still killed. Now that there were only 2 spots, the divine devil cult would definitely treasure it even more, so he wouldn't waste it like before. At this moment, Chen Shang did not care about what these people were saying, because they were currently walking on the path of the god-demon pool. Chen Shang had absorbed the youth's memories, so he knew where the pool was. There shouldn't be anyone there yet. If I can get in, the remaining water would be mine. Chen Shang flew higher. Although he had become a flying insect, the disciples of the divine devil cult all had divine soul. I know how those fiend god pools of water were formed. Su Meiyao asked. He melted a strange rock to get some white liquid, which is the water in the god-demon pool. I feel that as long as we can get that piece of ice, they have yet to make a move. According to the memories in that kid's head, it would not be easy to melt that strange rock, and it would take some time. Chen Shang arrived at the place where the god-demon pool was. It was a huge mountain and the god-demon pool was located in the belly of the mountain. Although there was a formation here, it was still a lot weaker than the one inside the Fire Divine Palace's underground palace. If they were to enter the soul-captivating mountain, they would accidentally trigger some restrictions, and very soon, disciples of the divine devil cult would attack and absorb that person's soul. After a long time, no one would come in, so the divine devil cult did not pay attention to defending. Moreover, they felt that their array formation was powerful, so even if someone tried to attack them, it would take some time to break it. Chen Shang entered the belly of the mountain and arrived at the center of a golden pond. This pool was not too big, allowing the three of them to immerse themselves in the water, and was constructed from a type of stone that could emit a golden light in the darkness, and atop the pool was a square white rock that was as tall as a person. As long as this rock was burned, the stone would melt, becoming a liquid that could nurture divine soul. Just what kind of stone is this? To actually have that kind of heaven-defying power, this kind of thing is too terrifying. I wonder how the boss of the divine devil cult obtained it. Does he actually have a lot? Long Shui really wanted to know, because it was not recorded in her inherited memories. The boss of the divine devil cult is at the heaven realm. If that guy uses this kind of method to rope in experts, then that guy's divine devil cult will definitely be even more powerful. Chen Shang shuddered at the thought of this, because if that heavenly slave could be wasted on a group of people so easily, he must also have a lot of these things on him. If he were to become the strongest in the heavenly demon realm, it wouldn't be long before the heavenly demon realm will be ruled over. Bai Yuyu also felt that the heavenly slave was extremely terrifying. To be able to grasp such a powerful thing, he would definitely become a great rival for Chen Shang in the future. Chen Shang had broken open a formation that was sealing the stone, and at that time, the entire mountain started to shake, causing quite a commotion. It's mine now. Chen Zhang's heart was in ecstasy as he placed the stone into the ring, and then quickly flew out. The divine devil cult elder who was walking in slowly outside had a face full of shock, and flew towards the cave entrance. Since you took away such an important thing like them, it looks like this divine devil cult will be hard to deal with in the future. Let's just wait outside for a while before deciding. Chen Shang had already sensed a few strong auras rushing over from all directions. They were all the rankers from the divine devil cult. Chen Shang left the soul-captivating mountain and went to the nearest gathering spot of the devil cultivator to wait for any news. However, he felt that he wouldn't get any news from this place since the divine devil cult was extremely secretive to begin with. Chapter 1243. After the divine devil cult had stolen such an important thing, the higher-ups of the entire divine devil cult were furious. They immediately gathered all of the followers of DTN and gathered in the soul-captivating mountain, beginning to search for some suspicious people. Although they knew that there might not be any results, they could not do anything about it. Chen Shang met a few groups of disciples that he had come here to search for. He secretly followed these disciples and from their mouths, he found out that many of the strong warriors of the divine devil cult were gathered in the soul-captivating mountain. All of them are back. Looks like the situation isn't looking good. Chen Shang was secretly worried. If the divine devil cult took this opportunity to attack the Chen Martial continent, then this would give him a very good opportunity. Furthermore, attacking and taking down Chen Martial continent is not something their divine devil cult-esque can do. They are only there to hunt down some genius figures, and they probably won't cooperate with Fire Divine Palace. Su Meiyao said. Chen Shang nodded. Then I will first melt that stone and let you and Miss Yu use it. I will let you two develop your divine soul first. You two can begin to cultivate the divine way right now. He had originally thought that it would be difficult to melt it, but he did not expect it to be this easy. It was as if he was burning ice, and the melted liquid was no different from ordinary water, and there was not the slightest fluctuation in energy. If he did not see it with his own eyes, he would not have been able to tell the difference between this liquid and water. After Chen Shang melted, he stored the liquid into a storage jade bottle and placed it inside the ring, allowing the two girls to use it for themselves. With Long Shui to look after the ring, he was not too worried. You'll need a few days and nights. When that time comes, you will be people with divine soul. Chen Shang laughed. Little scoundrel, what a pity, you can't see them in the bath with your own eyes, hee, Long Shui laughed. Hearing Long Shui's words, Chen Zhang's imagination went wild, and after secretly cursing the little pervert dragon in his heart, he took out the Yanlong furnace. Chen Shang was in a cave, refining pills as he waited for the two girls to succeed in nurturing their divine soul. He was refining Hunyuan Dan, and currently there were not many herbs for Hunyuan Dan. He needed a lot of heaven-level herbs, so he could not replicate quickly like before. Thus, he could slow down in order to refine Hunyuan Dan, so he could cultivate at the same time. He could eat 2 Hunyuan Dan at a time and refine the energy inside them to obtain a large amount of innate qi to condense the pill embryo of the 8th heavenly pill. If he could possess the power of the 8 nirvana tribulations, he would dare to go to the divine devil cult and cause a ruckus. He had to use a large amount of innate qi to support many of the techniques he had used, and only those powerful attacking techniques could complement his strong physique, unleashing a strong power that could kill experts with cultivations much higher than him. If he did not have enough innate qi, he could only use a few, but dealing with 1 or 2 divine devil cults would be easy, but being surrounded and killed by a large group of people was difficult. The 8th day's pill is easier said than done. Even if you manage to refine a Hunyuan Dan and train hard, it would take at least a few years. Don't even think about it in the near future. Long Shui said. She was extremely clear about the situation in Chen Zhang's body. If it was a normal method of cultivation, perhaps it would easily attract the 8th stage of nirvana tribulation, but right now, Chen Shang had the heavenly pellet. He needed to condense 5 of the 8th heaven pellets, which meant he would need a large number of innate qi. Chen Shang only refined 1 batch of Hunyuan Dan before stopping. After he ate a few, he held the philosophic stone in his hand and allowed the strange power of the philosophic stone to guide the powerful energy to condense the 8th heaven pellet. When he reached this realm, he would need to rely on comprehension to use the refined energy to raise his cultivation level. If he did not have the philosophic stone, he would definitely need more time to comprehend it, and after using the philosophic stone, he would quickly immerse himself in cultivation. He would not be able to refine pills while cultivating. Laid on the ground and watched, trying to think hard about and understand this method of giving birth to the soul. No matter how hard he tried, he just couldn't figure it out, unless he knew the exact origin of this mysterious stone. After 3 days, Long Shui suddenly shouted in shock, "Little scoundrel, wake up!" Chen Shang, who was currently cultivating, heard Long Shui's anxious shout and forcefully stopped his cultivation. He asked, "What happened? The water is entering their bodies. Is that true?" Long Shui said. "Nope." Chen Shang recalled the memories of the youth and the old man, but he did not do such a thing. After immersing himself in the water, he had successfully nurtured his divine soul. But this pool of water is quickly being absorbed by their bodies and will soon be completely flowing into their bodies. "What's going on?" Long Shui said anxiously. "I called out to them a few times, but they didn't reply. Their sea of consciousness seemed to have already sealed up." "Nope." Chen Zhang's face became serious, his heart burning with anxiety, but he could do nothing. "I've finished absorbing them, they seem to be asleep. Their vitality is still very strong, and their souls are also very powerful. There's nothing dangerous about it, it's just that they can't be woken up." Long Shui said. "I'll help them get dressed first and get them into bed. What I can be sure of is that they aren't in any danger, it's just that I don't know why they are asleep. It's good that they're fine. They might wake up in a few days, perhaps their souls are too strong, and the divine soul they nurture might also be very strong, which is why something like this happened." Chen Shang said. There were no other issues, which made Chen Shang feel more at ease. After that, he continued to refine pills, waiting for Su Meiyao and Bai Yu to wake up. However, several days later, these 2 beauties were still in deep sleep. Although they haven't woken up yet, their divine soul have already been developed in their minds and are gradually becoming stronger. "How strange, looks like they will need some time to wake up, you don't have to be too worried," Long Shui said. This was a very critical time, it would not be good if Chen Shang was distracted. "Well, if anything happens to them, let me know," Chen Shang said. "I know, you don't have to worry about me. I can take care of myself, and I won't eat anything planted here. Long Shui laughed. Originally, Chen Shang was not worried. After hearing her words, he knew that the flowers and fruits that she had been yearning for a long time were going to suffer. Chapter 1244. Chen Shang ate 7 or 8 Hunyuan Dan and cultivated for a few days, increasing his innate qi by a bit. However, it was just a little bit. After leaving the cave, Chen Shang returned to the gathering grounds of the devil cultivator. After asking around, he found out that nothing major had happened to the devil continent, but more and more disciples of the divine devil cult had appeared. They sent people to search everywhere. Could it be that they have a way to find the person who stole the strange rock? Chen Shang saw many divine devil cultists walking around the place disguised as devil cultivator, so he could tell what they were looking for with a glance. It's possible, maybe this divine devil cult has many powerful abilities, they even have those strange stones. Nothing is impossible, so you have to be careful, maybe once they are near you, they will find you. Long Shui said. Chen Shang thought that he had done it in secret, even with the Immortal King present, he wouldn't be able to discover him. During the night, a few people started a fire on a piece of barren land and surrounded them. These people were all disciples of the divine devil cult, so Chen Shang used his spirit traveling technique to secretly follow them. During the day, when they were wandering around the devil cultivator's gathering area, they did not say a single word, but now they began to speak. This place is a place with dragon veins, the fire divine palace is already prepared to fight. No matter what the price is, they want to take down this place, and our divine devil cult's strength is not weaker than the fire divine palaces, and we are also inside the Chen martial continent, so why must we leave, and give this rare opportunity to the fire divine palace? The loyal followers of the seething divine devil cult, he naturally wished for his own divine devil cult to become very strong. This is what the higher-ups are thinking. How can we know? Another follower drank a bowl of blood, which was carefully concocted to increase their lifespan, and that was the method divine devil cult had to extend it. I think it's because our divine devil cult's god demon pool was stolen, and an even more powerful guy was targeting our divine devil cult, so the vice sect leader decided to leave first. Furthermore, the other powers in the Chen martial continent are all very powerful. Even if our followers were to infiltrate, they can't weaken their strength. If a huge battle were to break out, our divine devil cult would still be severely injured, and our fire divine palace would definitely take advantage of the situation and take care of us in the Chen martial continent without any effort, so we won't do such foolish things. Right, the fire divine palace doesn't know of our existence, and we also have spies in the fire divine palace. When the fire divine palace attacks the Chen martial continent in the future and both of us suffer losses, it would be much easier for our divine devil cult to take action. If he did not know of the existence of the divine devil cult, it would be easy for him to be evil, and even if they repelled the fire divine palace, it would be very difficult for them to stop the divine devil cult at that time. What was fortunate was that the fire divine palace and the divine devil cult did not join hands. If they did join hands, then that would be the most terrifying thing. Here, the vice sect leader of the divine devil cult was the biggest, and the sect leader was the heavenly slave above him, the one who had founded the divine devil cult. The youth suppressed inside Chen Zhang's square cauldron was the vice sect leader's son. Although you are just small fry in the divine devil cult, your guesses are indeed the plan of the divine devil cult. A voice suddenly sounded, shocking Chen Shang and the other disciples of divine devil cult. There was someone nearby, but Chen Shang did not notice it. Who is it? One of the followers immediately shouted, pulling out a weapon. Just as the followers asked them questions, the fire that they had built became even bigger, and then turned into a middle-aged man. Surprisingly, within the fire, Chen Shang saw this method and immediately associated it with the divine ability. It's a divine ability, Long Shui said. There are indeed experts in the fire divine palace who train in the divine way. This kind of guy is very scary. The few followers naturally could tell that this was an ability, and seeing the middle-aged man dressed in fiery red, they knew that he was from Fire Divine Palace. Their divine devil cult had already been exposed, they had underestimated him. It's such a pity, if you didn't have the God and Devil brand, I could spare your lives, and let you join my Fire Divine Palace, and become its slaves. But, the middle-aged man's eyes lit up, he waved his hand, and a few fire people suddenly appeared, piercing through the divine devil cult disciples' bodies and burning them to ashes. This guy is very strong, Chen Shang thought. After the middle-aged man killed the few divine devil cult disciples, his body turned into a flame and flew into the air, flying straight towards the soul-captivating mountain. Do you know what kind of strength this guy has? Seems like they are going to deal with the divine devil cult. Chen Shang immediately and carefully ran towards soul-captivating mountain. Long Shui thought for a while, then said, the cultivation of the divine way should be about the same as you, to be able to cultivate and become a divine sensei, and to be able to step into the consummate realm, while the innate chi is at the late stage of a mortal monarch. The white tiger had said that only the immortal king would be bound by the rules. However, if it was the immortal monarch, there shouldn't be any problems. This guy is going to attack divine devil cult just like that. If he angers the immortal king hiding inside, wouldn't it be very dangerous? Chen Shang suddenly felt that it was extremely dangerous. If such a immortal monarch were to attack divine weapons heavenly country, it would be easy for him to do so. Why didn't they send this kind of expert to deal with the various powers in Chen Martial continent? Chen Shang knew that the Fire Divine Palace had a lot of powerful warriors hidden inside. If they could sneak attack him with just a few late period of human immortal rankers, the Chen Martial continent would definitely suffer a great loss. I'm not sure, but I'm sure they do have concerns. Long Shui said. Chen Shang came to the deepest part of the soul-captivating mountain. More than half of the forest inside was incinerated, and wave after wave of battle exploded outwards, causing the soul-captivating mountain to continuously shake. The battle was extremely intense. Flames soared into the sky, and huge tremors continuously spread out. The aftermath of the battle was like a violent gale, engulfing the entire soul-captivating mountain and turning the place into a sea of fire. Could it be that this divine devil cult knew that the Fire Divine Palace wanted to take action against them, that's why he planned to relocate? It looks like we cannot underestimate him, this Fire Divine Palace is really powerful. Chen Shang faced the intense waves of air that erupted from the battle and got closer and closer to the place where the battle was taking place. He wanted to see who was fighting the expert from the Divine Way in Fire Divine Palace. It really is that brat's father. Could it be that there are no more powerful warriors in the Divine Devil cult, and the vice sect leader can do it himself? Chen Shang lied on top of a mountain that was scorched extremely hot, and looked at the two figures in the distance who were continuously attacking him like two rays of light. Their speed was extremely fast, and they were very far away from him, but he could still see them clearly. Chapter 1245. From up above, Chen Shang could see many burnt corpses flying everywhere from the waves of air. Some burnt corpses were even torn into pieces, and those who were disciples of the Divine Devil cult and possessed Divine Soul all died just like that, causing Chen Shang to feel extremely regretful. Fire Divine Palace, as expected, it was you who did it. You stole our strange rock, and now you're even attacking us with the ability to destroy. Our Divine Devil cult will remember you. Facing the attack of the Fire Divine Palace's Divine Path expert, the vice sect leader was actually suppressed. The flame ability that the middle-aged man from Fire Divine Palace used was indeed very powerful, and it made Chen Shang secretly admire him. Your Divine Devil cult isn't some good stuff either, to actually send protectors to capture our two immortal monarchs. Do you think we wouldn't know that the two immortal monarchs' pearl of life have already shattered? The middle-aged man from the Fire Divine Palace sneered. With a wave of his hand, violent flames turned into large seals that were covered with spirit grain and smashed down on the vice sect leader of the Divine Devil cult one after another. Unexpectedly, two of the Fire Divine Palaces in Fire Divine Palace had been killed. Chen Shang was secretly delighted in his heart. HMPH, weren't our protectors still not back yet? Those two protectors are both immortal kings, other than the two immortal kings in your Fire Divine Palace, who would be able to stop them? One could tell that he was under a lot of pressure at the moment. Suddenly, Chen Shang felt that the Divine Devil cult was not as good as the Fire Divine Palace. The two immortal king protectors that he sent out were actually kept by the Fire Divine Palace, or perhaps they had already died, which was why the Divine Devil cult wanted to quickly evacuate. Who would have known that the Fire Divine Palace would find their lair so quickly, and even call them back? It was also your protectors who took away our immortal monarch and killed them, if not our immortal king would not have made a move against them. We never had any enmity towards your Divine Devil cult and we even wanted to cooperate with you, but who would have known that you would extend your hands to us? The Fire Divine Palace middle-aged man suddenly shouted, and a large fire cloud suddenly appeared in the night sky. It's the Fire Cloud Palm. Chen Shang had experienced the impressiveness of Fire Cloud Palm before. It was your Fire Divine Palace who stole our strange stone first. The vice sect leader roared in despair. A massive palm formed from fire pressed down like the heavens themselves. With a boom, the wave of fire that erupted engulfed the entire soul-captivating mountain. Even the large forest surrounding the soul-captivating mountain was not spared. Who is it? As soon as the burly man closed his eyes, he could feel that there were people alive in the sea of fire below. This guy is really powerful. I'm really troubled to be able to sense life from the flames he released. Chen Shang sprinted through the sea of flames. This time, he finally got to see the kind of existence that was below the Immortal King Fire Divine Palace. With just a simple fire cloud palm, he burned a vast expanse of land, and many tall mountains were burnt to ashes. After all, that was the Immortal Monarch. Even in the heaven realm, he was a very strong figure, and he also cultivated the divine way. The powerful people in the divine devil cult have basically all been killed. What's left are some small fries that can be ignored, but just who is the person hiding in the sea of fire? How could his speed be so fast that even I can't catch up? The big fellow muttered. When I was coming down, Master told me that there have always been many strong warriors hidden in New Imperial Heaven World. Indeed, to be able to run so fast in my fire domain, I'm afraid only the Immortal King did not attack me. It seems like he doesn't want to fight me. The Demon Empress and the Evil Snake King are both recuperating, so it can't be them. The strongest Demon King in the Devil Realm is Wang Chongjin, and other than the old man that Hall Master, there shouldn't be any other Immortal Kings in the human realm. Quote, Chen Shang had originally planned to teach this middle-aged man a lesson after getting heavily injured with Divine Devil Cult's vice sect leader, but who knew that the latter would be so strong? Long Shui could hear the middle-aged man mumbling to himself, and she told Chen Shang this. Since we know that there are no Immortal Kings in the human realm, why didn't they attack the Chen Martial Continent? If this Immortal Monarch leads the way, the Chen Martial Continent would be in danger. This was what Chen Shang was most worried about. Maybe the Chen Martial Continent is hiding someone that they are afraid of, someone that they are worried about luring out. There are many strange things that happen in the Chen Martial Continent anyway. Long Shui said. Chen Shang left the Sea of Fire, using the power of the spatial laws and the shrinking step. He activated both to their limits, and rushed towards places closest to the transmission array. This Divine Devil Cult is really stupid, sending so many Divine Devil Cult disciples to search for suspicious people, exposing their hiding place. That's why the middle-aged man came to find them and killed them. Long Shui said. This is not a bad thing for us. We should be grateful to Fire Divine Palace for helping us kill such a powerful Divine Devil Cult. I think the Heaven Realm will definitely know, and will definitely get into trouble from above. Chen Shang laughed. There was a Fire Emperor behind the Fire Divine Palace and a Heavenly Slave behind the Fire Divine Palace. Both of them were very powerful people, and these two forces might become two of the strongest powers in the Heaven Realm in the future. Soul-captivating Mountain's super big fire had burnt that place to the ground overnight. This matter had stirred the entire New Imperial Heaven World. No one knew what was going on, they only thought that it was a natural disaster. Chen Shang came to Icy Wind Valley, and upon knowing that he had returned, Pan Yunlin immediately came to see him. Currently, it had already been 5 days since Soul-Captivating Mountain was set ablaze, and the flames there had yet to extinguish. Of course Pan Yunlin knew about the Soul-Captivating Mountain, because she knew that the Divine Devil Cult was hiding in the Soul-Captivating Mountain, and Chen Shang had previously said that he would go kill the Divine Devil Cult, so she had always been paying attention to the news there. You did it. Upon seeing Chen Shang, Pan Yunlin asked in shock. No, it's a powerful fellow from the Fire Divine Palace who killed the vice sect leader of the Divine Devil Cult in a few moves. Chen Zhang's tone was extremely serious, because that fellow was a huge threat. Of course, that could be considered as him killing them indirectly, because he stole the strange stone, causing the Divine Devil Cult to suspect that it was the Fire Divine Palace who did it. Thus, he immediately sent 2 Immortal Kings to capture the 2 Fire Divine Palaces and tortured them to death. In the end, the Fire Divine Palace and the Divine Devil Cult started to fight secretly. It was all because of the strongest guys. Chen Shang did not know how those Immortal Kings did not trigger the power of laws that restricted the Immortal King, but they fought a big battle and even killed the Immortal King. Chen Shang told this Pan Yunlin about the conflict between Fire Divine Palaces. After all, Pan Yunlin had always been assisting the masters of Icy Wind Valley S and Divine Devil Cult S, so he had a certain level of experience in this kind of thing. Chapter 1246. Pan Yunlin knew that at this time, Chen Shang was worried that Fire Divine Palace, the powerful Immortal Monarch, would bring a large group of people to attack Chen Martial Continent. After a moment's thought, she said, they didn't dare attack us, so they might have been worried about that. What are you worried about? Chen Shang asked anxiously. Your hometown. Do you remember where you were born? Shenxian and Yulan were also born at, and Munger went to investigate some things that year. After that, she coincidentally bumped into Shui Shenxian and took him in as her disciple. Quote. Pan Yunlin's words were like a bolt of lightning that struck Chen Zhang's body. His father, his clansmen were all in that world, and his sudden disappearance at that time was not a small blow to him. Now that he heard Pan Yunlin's words, he finally remembered that the place he was born in was a place that hid some sort of secret. What happened to my hometown? Chen Shang had always wanted to know, but Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu seemed to know a little. His master Huang Jintian, Ji Yu Dongchen and the others also knew a little. That is, in truth, this is nothing much to us, but to the people from that place, it might not be a good thing, but your family members will not die, so it will be fine. Your master has always been hiding it from you, but he was worried that after you find out about the things there, you would do something excessive. Hearing that something bad was going to happen there, Chen Shang suddenly grabbed onto his father tightly. He did not wish for his father to be in danger, as he was his family. What the hell is going on there? Chen Shang lowered his head, his expression extremely solemn. It is said that there is a very powerful tomb here, and the place where this tomb is located will disappear at a special time, and then appear again. And the people who are at the top of the tomb will all become tomb watchers, and they have very strong powers, but they are all restricted by the tomb, and as for the consequences, we are not too clear. Yun Che's eyes flashed with a trace of coldness. Is this the Ten Heavens Supreme Lord's tomb? Chen Shang immediately thought of this. Ten Heavens Supreme Lord's grave had always been a mystery, he did not know where it was. We are not sure either. In short, that tomb belongs to a strong rancor, and as for whether it is Ten Heavens Supreme Lord's tomb, we are not sure either. Pan Yunlin shook his head. Then why is the Fire Divine Palace afraid of that place? Didn't that place already disappear? Chen Shang asked again. That place had already disappeared, so there was no reason for Fire Divine Palace to be afraid. The energy of the Chen Martial continent is just used to maintain that world's circulation. If they send out too many strong warriors to attack the sects here and disrupt the balance here, then that mortal world might appear and the people guarding the tomb would come out to start a massacre. Ling Chen said in a low voice. Pan Yunlin said. If the immortal monarch were to make a move, they could destroy an entire place. If there were a lot of casualties here, then a lot of death aura would accumulate. If there was a lot of death aura, it would corrode the spirit energy here, causing a lot of energy to dissipate. What tomb is that? Doesn't that mean my father is the tomb watcher? Do they even have their own intentions? Chen Shang asked. He really couldn't imagine how his father and clansmen could have been saved from that place. When the secular world disappears, the people in the upper echelons will all gain in strength. If you want to know if your father and the others are in any danger, it would be best if you know who the owner of the tomb is. If it's a good person, then they shouldn't be in any big trouble. Pan Yunlin said. Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu were also aware of this matter. Chen Shang thought that they should also not be clear about who the tomb master was, if not they would have reminded him when he was looking for the emperor's tomb, and they might not be sure whether or not the tomb was the emperor's tomb. Actually, with regards to the Chen Martial continent, the local sects can solve their own problems, and the hidden strength of our place is not weak either. You can cultivate in peace, and make your preparations to fly up. Heaven Realm is what you youngsters should go to. If it's really peaceful here at that time, I will also go to the Heaven Realm. Pan Yunlin smiled at Chen Shang. Chen Shang left the Icy Wind Valley and returned to the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country. He did not talk too much with Shui Shenxian and the others, but only told them that Pan Yunlin would come over and explain everything clearly. He then returned to the Dragon Subduing School, and arrived at the Dragon Vein deep in the middle of the Evil Dragon Graveyard. The mysterious tomb was clearly absorbing the energy of the Chen Martial continent, and in the future, a Dragon Vein would appear in the Chen Martial continent. If he connected the two together, he could guess that the person in the tomb might use the Dragon Veins to revive themselves. Little naughty dragon, what do you think about this? Didn't Sister Meiyao and Elder Sister Yu say a lot about that tomb? Chen Shang lied in the place where the Dragon Veins used to store the Dragon Pearls. He hadn't returned for a few years, and the quality of the spar that made up the Dragon Veins had also improved a lot. He didn't tell me, but you can ask White Tiger. Maybe he knows something, Long Shui said. I don't think so, but I don't think that tomb had anything to do with that period. Otherwise, those ancient powers would have attacked the Chen Martial continent a long time ago. Chen Shang shook his head. He had asked Duan Chong before, and Duan Chong did not know about this matter, so he thought so. To be able to cause the Fire Divine Palace to worry, it seems that the owner of that tomb is very strong, but he is not from the 10 Heavens Supreme Lord. Chen Shang was very curious in his heart, and there was no way to investigate it. Of course, this was all to find out whether or not his father was safe there. Chen Shang had returned to the dragon vein, and the growth of the dragon vein was extremely fast, so he did not need to worry about the dragon vein being used up just because he was cultivating here. For many years, the energy of the great formation of the evil dragon graveyard and the evil dragon graveyard was maintained by this dragon vein, but not only did the energy of the dragon vein not decrease, it had even increased. Chen Shang had secretly returned, and other disciples were forbidden from entering this place, so very few people knew that Chen Shang had returned, only the patriarch and the few old men from Earth's core race knew about it. Let's see if I can cultivate the fire soul here. The flame is my bottleneck right now, and without strong flames, it would be difficult for me to refine a medium-grade heaven-level pill. Even refining a low-grade heaven-level pill would be a little difficult. Chen Shang closed his eyes and began probing into the geocentric crystal. He wanted to trigger the energy within to strengthen his fire soul and at the same time let the seed of heaven fire sprout. If he could fuse all of these together, perhaps his fire soul could ascend a very large step. You just refined a low-grade heaven-level pellet, and you're already thinking of middle grade. Take it slow, refine some low-grade heaven-level pills that are suitable for me to eat first. I have been waiting for a long time. Long Shui said. I know that, but it's already difficult for me to refine a Hunyuan Dan now, and I might even fail if I don't. It's not like you don't know, if it wasn't for the resonance between the Hunyuan tree root and mine, it would be extremely difficult for me to refine a cauldron of Hunyuan Dan. Chen Shang said. This Hunyuan Dan is relatively easy to refine. If it was a flying Dan, then I think that my current flames should be difficult to deal with. Flying Dan are not useful to you. If you don't go through the tribulation, it's equivalent to wasting an opportunity to improve yourself. Will you be willing to part with it? I heard Sister Meiyao say before that there is a type of pill called Tianlong Dan, which is specially made for dragons to eat. Rank is determined by the quality of the medicinal ingredients. If the medicinal ingredients are of the lower heaven level quality, it can be refined into Tianlong Dan of the same quality. Long Shui said. Alright, I'll help you collect the medicinal ingredients when I have time. Of course Chen Shang had to agree to her request. Raising this little dragon to be strong was beneficial to him. Long Shui did not want to disturb Chen Zhang's cultivation at this time. The fact that Chen Zhang's flames could grow meant that he could refine even more high-leveled pills. This was a good thing. Previously, Chen Shang had had a chance to trigger the hidden flame energy in his body, and could instantly fuse it into a very strong fire soul. But at that time, he knew that his own body could not endure it, which was why he did not do it. However, it was extremely difficult for him to bring out the hidden potential. Chapter 1247. Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu were both deep asleep now, and Long Shui could not give Chen Shang any advice either. Chen Shang had sunk into a state of confusion once again. Previously, when he did not want to level up Fire Soul, that opportunity had popped up again. Now, he wanted to level up, but he could not find that key point. Just as Chen Shang was feeling anxious because of this, suddenly, a very cool energy spread throughout his body, causing him to feel extremely comfortable. It was only then did he remember that this energy was released when Kaomu Heavenly Dan and Grasswood Spirit were merging. He had obtained the Kaomu Heavenly Dan from the 10 Heavenly Sacred Mountain, and he had obtained the Grasswood Spirit on his way to Chaotic Mountain. The two had been fusing since long ago, and although it had already been a long time since they last merged, they had not completely succeeded. Once the Kaomu Heavenly Dan and Grasswood Spirit fuse, I wonder what will happen. These two things can bring people closer to nature. I wonder if it can help me raise my fire soul. Chen Shang finally found a way out. Now that he allowed himself to enter the realm of selflessness and didn't do anything, it could make the fusion of Kaomu Heavenly Dan and Grasswood Spirit even faster. Unknowingly, Chen Shang felt that his body was very light. It was as if he had fused with the entire dragon vein, and he could even feel the boiling flame essence in the earth core, making him feel as if he had fused with the earth. The environment of the earth's core was very harsh. Under the ground, the fire essence was like waves of crazy waves crashing against each other. Sometimes, the waves formed by the fire essence would collide with each other, and the energy coming from the impact would be very strong, penetrating into the air and forming the spirit energy. And underneath the dragon vein, because there were countless fine channels that formed lines that contained Tao runes, even more spirit energy was born. It even turned into liquid and flowed into another place before finally condensing into a crystal shape and turning into a dragon vein. So that's how it is. No wonder the super old fire beast were so angry at me for obtaining the mind crystal back then. The crystal is in its strongest form. Chen Shang seemed to have grasped something. Feeling the fusion of the Kaomu Heavenly Dan and Grasswood Spirit, time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 days had passed, but Chen Shang had no idea about it at all. Right now, his only thought was to raise his fire soul, but he already had a direction. The core crystal contains a very strong flame energy. I always thought that I would need to release the fire energy inside in order to strengthen my fire soul, but now I'm wrong. This was what Chen Shang thought when he saw the energy that was rising up from below the Earth's core condensing into a crystal. He planned to nurture something similar to a dragon's vein inside his body, but with a different nature from a dragon's vein. What he wanted to nurture was a fire soul divine veins. There was a fire seed of divine flame in the core crystal. He could use this to combine the sky fire seed and the heaven fire soul in his body. When he thought about it, he immediately did as he was told. Using his powerful divine power, he absorbed the fire soul and the seed into the gem. Although he did not know what the result would be, he felt that it would definitely increase his firepower by a level. Not long after he started cultivating, an accident happened. The earth core crystal suddenly produced a very powerful suction force, which slowly absorbed the heaven fire soul that was fused with his soul and body, causing his entire body to feel incomparable pain. The sky fire seed had long been absorbed into the mind crystal, but he did not expect that the earth core crystal would be able to even absorb the fusion of the Kaomu Heavenly Dan and Grasswood Spirit. Little scoundrel, what happened to your body? Long Shui suddenly shouted, because she saw that the dragon vein's spirit energy was turning into liquid and permeating into Chen Zhang's body at an astonishing speed. Chen Shang did not answer. His entire body was shaking, and he was in extreme pain, but the earth core crystal appeared in the middle of his dantian, right above the deity statue in the middle, and started to spin crazily. It turned into a ball of fire, absorbing the innate chi and heaven fire soul inside his heaven pellet. The innate Qis stored in the heaven pellet were being extracted quickly, but they were also quickly replenished by the dragon fountain, which was why the dragon whisker could see Chen Shang absorbing the dragon fountain's spirit energy so crazily. He's absorbing genuine Qi of 5 elements. Is he going to evolve into a 5 elements heavenly fire, just like Li Baojun? At this time, Long Shui sent his god power into Chen Zhang's dantian, and when he saw the earth core crystal twinkle with multicolored light, he immediately said in shock. It could also be the heaven and earth flame. Before long, Long Shui saw another huge change in the gem. It's actually a 7-colored cloud of light. Is it a 7-colored heavenly fire? Quote. No, Chen Shang said with great difficulty. Sister Yu and the yin and yang god blood that Sister Mei Yao gave me are also slowly entering this mental crystal. My fire soul, divine veins, and bones are all merging into one. What? How can these things be fused together? Long Shui was shocked. If it was fused together, it would definitely be powerful, but she was worried that Chen Zhang's body would not be able to withstand the explosive power released when these things merged together. The sound of thunder and lightning was extremely loud. Right now, he was inside the dragon vein, and the amount of energy he absorbed was astonishing to the point that even the Earth's core race near the dragon vein had hidden themselves. Because the sound was too great, it was as if the entire dragon vein was roaring. This situation continued for more than a month before stopping. At this moment, Chen Shang had also fallen into a coma. Little scoundrel, wake up, Long Shui shouted anxiously, but she was actually unable to see the condition of Chen Zhang's dantian, and there was not a trace of innate Qi's energy inside his body, as though his dantian had been crippled. What's wrong? Chen Shang opened his eyes. The pain in his body had already disappeared, and at this moment, he felt as if he had fallen asleep. Where's your dantian? Why can't I sense it? Did you do something rash and disappear? Why don't you feel any aura from the innate Qi? What's going on? Is your body of heavenly sage still around? Long Shui was extremely worried. Chen Shang looked at his own dantian and was stunned. The 5-beast elephant inside were still there, and the heavenly pellet was normal too, but there was no change. The yin and yang god blood, the heaven fire soul, and the gem had all disappeared. He could feel the yin and yang god blood's aura from within the black mist, and he felt that he could also release fire, which would be even stronger. My dantian became a large gray space, and with the 5-beast elephant inside, the innate chi's aura will not be emitted. Also, if I release the innate chi, it will come out from that gray-colored ball of air, and if I come in contact with even the slightest bit of that mist, it would be very difficult to feel it, so I simply do not know if that's the innate chi. Chen Shang said. However, he felt that the large lump of grayish-black thing was not perfect yet, but it had a very mysterious power protecting his dantian. He felt that even if someone stabbed into his dantian, he might not be able to destroy the thing inside, and his dantian did not seem to be inside his body anymore. In other words, even if his body was destroyed, the innate chi that he was cultivating in would still exist. This kind of strange phenomenon was something that made even Long Shui exclaim in surprise. You little scoundrel, you're one step closer to becoming immortal. Quickly take a look at your current flames. Sister Meiyao and Sister Yu are asleep, so you just need to randomly mess around. Fortunately, it's not a bad result. Long Shui urged. Chen Shang released a ball of flame into his own palm. It was actually a very ordinary ball of fire, which startled both him and Long Shui. However, something strange happened. The flames he released started to change color at first. It was red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. These colors rapidly changed, and behind them, the white, gold, and black eyes slowly changed. In the end, 5 dazzling rays of light appeared. It was actually a 5 elements heavenly fire. What's going on? I feel like I can use many different forms of flames. Chen Shang followed his will and released another ball of ordinary flames, but this was indeed a heaven fire. Amazing, is there an even more powerful flame? I saw rainbow-colored light appearing in your dantian before, maybe you can release the rainbow heaven flame. Long Shui said excitedly. Chapter 1248, Chen Shang did not know what happened in his dantian previously. When he found out that the multicolored light of the rainbow heaven flame had appeared in his dantian, he was extremely shocked. Quickly, give it a try. The 7-colored heavenly fire is very beautiful. Long Shui urged. Chen Shang controlled it with his mind, causing a ball of flame to emerge from his palm. Seeing the ball of fire, Long Shui cheered, and the 7-colored light shone brightly as the surrounding spar shone with 7-colored light, becoming even more gorgeous. At the same time, the place was also filled with a truly hot and scorching heat. The consumption rate of the innate chi is very fast, the 7-colored heavenly fire is indeed powerful. Chen Shang said in shock. In just a short moment, the innate chi in a heaven pellet has been completely used up. Right now, he had 35 heaven pills. At this rate, it wouldn't be long before the 7-colored heaven flames would completely consume all the innate chi in his body. It seems that you can use a variety of colors of flames at will. Are these all controlled by your own will? Can you even use an even more powerful flame? I have a feeling that the flame potential you've ignited isn't only limited to this, it should be even stronger. She had always followed Chen Shang and had even merged with Chen Zhang's energy before. She was the clearest about the situation in Chen Zhang's body. I'll try again. Chen Shang frowned as he looked at the center of his palm. He used his mind to control the power in his body and turned the innate chi into an even stronger flame and spewed it out. Still not enough? Long Shui asked, seeing that there was no flames at all on Chen Zhang's palm. He's coming. Chen Shang suddenly let out a strange cry. A burst of flame suddenly lit up from his palm, but disappeared afterwards. Just now, a cluster of flame appeared, but it only flashed for a moment and did not continue burning. But just at that moment, all the innate chi in Chen Zhang's body were sucked out, showing how powerful that flame was. Long Shui also cried out repeatedly in alarm. The heat that exploded just now might not even be this hot. If someone was beside you and you didn't control your anger properly, you would definitely be burnt. What kind of flame is this? Long Shui could feel that all of the innate chi in his body had been consumed, but he was only able to maintain that flame for a moment. If he was to use that flame for a long period of time, it would consume a lot of innate chi, which was not something Chen Shang could use now. It seems that you have already completely unearthed the power of the flames inside your body. If you had enough innate chi, you might even be able to release a flame that was even more powerful than before. Long Shui said. Chen Shang also thought so. He planned to try to release that flame again, even if it would consume his innate chi, it didn't matter. He wanted to confirm whether he could really release that kind of powerful flame, or only be able to do it by chance. After recovering the innate chi, Chen Shang tried again. This time, it was the same as before, there was only a flash of fire, but it exploded with a strong heat. If this place was not inside the dragon vein, but in a forest, everything around him would be burnt to ashes. Even if I were to become an immortal, I would probably only be able to use a very short period of time. Even if I were to become an immortal, I would probably only be able to use a very short period of time. Chen Shang said. Long Shui nodded. According to the light rays, it's the same as your heaven fire, they're all no different from normal flames. Could it be the heaven and earth flame? But logically speaking, the heaven and earth flame should be a fusion body of the 5 elements heavenly fire. You can just use the 5 elements heavenly fire to merge and gather them together. You shouldn't consume so much innate qi, and it shouldn't be that powerful. Chen Shang meditated and recovered his innate qi once again. After he recovered fully, he released the 5 elements heavenly fire and then merged the 5 colors of the 5 elements heavenly fire into one, turning it into the same color as normal flames. The flame was also stronger than the original 5 elements heavenly fire, so he was now certain that the fire released by the innate qi throughout his body was not the heaven and earth flame. Even if I can use my strong flames now, my innate qi won't be able to keep up with the energy consumption. Even if I absorb the spiritual energy outside to refine it into innate qi, I won't be able to keep up with the energy consumption rate. This was one of the more depressing things for Chen Shang. He could release 5 elements heavenly fire S, heaven flames, or even rainbow heaven flames that were even more powerful than heaven fire S, but if he used heaven flames, he felt that in just 2 hours, he could completely use up all the innate qi in his body. It had to be known that even if the heaven and earth flame from before was released continuously for an entire day, it wouldn't be enough to exhaust his innate qi. Although the consumption of innate qi was large, the flame was still many times stronger. If he were to use the foreseeing alchemy to refine pills, no matter how strong the flame was, it probably wouldn't be able to increase the efficiency. At most, it would only have a little effect. Of course, he did not only need to raise the flames, he also needed to raise the level of his divine way. Right now, he had just stepped into the perfection stage of the divine way realm, and this was only considered a starting point for cultivating in the divine way. Even if he had the God-slain method and the 9-turn dragon god mantra, he would not be able to improve so quickly, unless he was like Long Shui, who was born to practice the divine way. Only then would he be able to be like Long Shui, who does not cultivate much, and whose cultivation can only increase on his own. If I were to advance in the divine path, how powerful would I be? Chen Shang asked. Cultivating the divine way is different from cultivating the innate qi. Raising the realm of the divine way is very difficult, and one's realm is also very small. For humans, being able to raise their realm by 1 after many years is already pretty good already. Long Shui said, if we continue to raise our realm, then it will be the realm of spirit transformation. Becoming a god to become an astral form. How powerful are you? Are you able to reach that level now? Chen Shang asked anxiously. I won't tell you this. Long Shui laughed tenderly. You people who cultivate the innate qi, should know that the astral energy is very strong. By condensing the innate qi into an astral energy, the released innate qi is like a sharp blade. With a casual wave, you guys can release the astral energy and break a huge mountain. That's right. What about the divine powers that have transformed into divine powers? They're also extremely powerful. Chen Shang was immediately curious. If you guys cultivate the innate qi, your strength will increase by several times, or even 10 times, compared to before. However, cultivating the divine way is different. Long Shui said. Before I reached perfection, my divine soul was very weak, and before I became a divine power, that kind of power wasn't very useful. Chen Shang nodded. Long Shui said, if you can condense the divine power into the god wind, when the time comes, the divine power that you can use will be even more powerful. Of course, this is certain, but the biggest use of the divine power is to use it like the innate qi, releasing it as it is used for substantive attacks. Chen Shang took a deep breath, and immediately felt a surge of emotions in his heart. If he combined the god wind and true divine, in addition to his powerful physical body strength, then the power he released would be extremely terrifying. Chapter 1249. However, these supernatural powers usually require some time to be unleashed. For example, the heavenly dragon seal, as well as the art of change, the god power will transform into a strange energy that will change the structure of the human body and assimilate it into other things. Originally, all living things in the world would originate from the same source, but this is the point where the transformation technique is used. Whenever she talked about the divine way, Long Shui would always talk about it, so she really hoped that both Su Meiyao and Bai Yu would have the divine soul, then she could impart to them all the knowledge of the divine way every day. Long Shui continued to speak. Divine power is a product of the evolution of the consciousness, and the special characteristic is that it can accommodate the same amount of soul power, but it is many times stronger than the divine power. However, if you use these two powers directly, at most, it can only be used as a mental attack. So that's how it is. Then what happened to your dragon power? Chen Shang asked. We were born with a dragon power, but we also have a god wind. If we can cultivate a god wind and use it together with a dragon power, that would be the strongest. Long Shui said. Chen Shang was shocked. The dragons of the Imperial Dragon clan were powerful indeed, and these things were naturally theirs. No wonder there were only a few of them, but they had a place in the vast worlds of other races. If I can cultivate the god wind, can I use it to release flames? Chen Shang asked. Of course you can, but I don't know how strong you are. I'm a white dragon, and although I can release fire, I don't have a professional fire dragon that's familiar with this sort of thing. Long Shui said. Chen Shang felt that if he wanted to release that super strong flame, just using innate qi would not be enough. He felt that even if he himself became an immortal monarch, he wouldn't be able to use that flame for too long. Leader, Elder Duan had just sent a message from the dragon subduing city that someone was here to cause trouble, and he even hit one of our people. The patriarch of the Earth's core race, Tai Li, was sending a message to Chen Shang from outside. The message that came from outside would stop inside a jade pearl. As long as Chen Shang finished cultivating, he would check if there was any news from inside the jade pearl. Elder Iron, do you know who has come to cause trouble? What's the actual situation? Chen Shang did not want to go out right now. He still planned to refine some pellets and condense the embryo of the 8th day pellet. After he could improve his innate qi, he would then find some medicinal ingredients that could strengthen his divine soul and use them to refine pills. There are only 3 of them, but they are very strong. The strongest one should be in the intermediate stage of the worldly immortal stage, but Elder Li and Elder Duan find it difficult to deal with them. Tai Li said. Duan Chong and Li Baojun were both powerful immortals of the late period of human immortal, but they were unable to deal with the intermediate worldly immortal stage. This meant that those who came to cause trouble were frighteningly strong, with great potential. Isn't he from Fire Divine Palace? Chen Shang asked again. He was already outside. No, I heard that they were called the Dragon Slaying Clan, and they said that they went through so much trouble to come down from the heaven realm, and they were here for us. Tai Li said. Chen Shang frowned. Running down from the heaven realm at this time must have used a lot of power, and this was all for the sake of the dragon subduing school. Chen Shang obviously would not reveal his identity at this time, but he had to take a look. He used the transmission array that had just been set up here and went to a secret room in the dragon subduing city. What dog shit about exterminating the dragon race? I've never heard of that before. I really want to go out and see just how capable these guys are. Long Shui was very unhappy. The reason she allowed Chen Zhang's dragon subduing school to exist was because she wanted to go with Chen Shang to kill dragons in the future, and kill those old dragons in the Imperial Dragon clan that she hated the most. The moment Chen Shang walked out of the secret room, he immediately sensed an extremely dense aura of the dragon power. Looks like it's very strong. It should be due to the cultivation of the powerful dragon extinction that it has such power. Chen Shang muttered, and rushed to the direction where the dragon power was released. HMPH, I really want to go out and teach this arrogant guy a lesson. Long Shui had a kind of inexplicable hatred toward that aura, and it was even the kind that she hated so much. As for why, she couldn't explain it either. Chen Shang arrived at the location of the incident. This was outside the city. Li Baojun and Duan Chong were there, and there were a lot of people standing and watching from outside the city. Behind Li Baojun and the others, there were a few young men who were injured and lying down. It seemed like they were the ones that Tai Li had mentioned earlier. Duan Chong and Li Baojun were facing 3 people who were dressed in snow-white robes. One of them was an old man, one was middle-aged and the other was a young man. These 3 fellows are really bored to death. They came down from the heaven realm to be so arrogant. They must have spent a huge price to come down, and it wouldn't be easy for them to go up there. Long Shui said. The young man looked at Li Baojun and said, I already said, ask your leader to come out and see me, and don't try to fool me with any more reasons. If your leader is really sealed, then don't open this dragon subduing school, and shut it off immediately. You just came down from Heaven Realm, so you don't know the situation. Most people in this new Imperial Heaven world know that our leader is sealed by the great array of the Fire Divine Palace, and that the seal can even seal the Immortal King. Duan Chong said. Chen Shang walked over, and when they saw him, a few of them anxiously said, "Look, isn't that the powerful pill refining elder from Dragon Subduing School? His pill refining skills have already reached a higher level, and it's going to be interesting." Chen Shang had appeared this time because he wanted others to know that there were many powerful elders in the Dragon Subduing School. "I only have one seal here. Although it is not as powerful as the one that sealed the Immortal King, it is more than enough to seal the three of you," Chen Shang said without a trace of politeness. Then, he looked at Li Baojun and Duan Chong, and asked, "Where did these three guys come from? Did they injure our people?" Let me tell you this, we are the genuine dragon-slaying clan, we have an extremely strong destructive capacity. Even in the Heaven Realm, our name is well known, and after knowing that you guys have a dragon-subduing school in DTN, we thought that you aren't qualified enough to have that name. That's why we came down to have you give control of the dragon-subduing school to us," the middle-aged man shamelessly said. Chapter 1250. After hearing everything, Li Baojun, Duan Chong and the others immediately started to laugh maniacally. "You are of the Dragon Clan, how many powerful dragons have you killed?" "Our Dragon Subduing School's elders have killed an Emperor Dragon Guard in front of the Prince Imperial Dragon. Have you ever killed them? I'm afraid you won't even dare to yell at the entrance of the Imperial Dragon Clan's dragon nest. You actually came all the way here from the Heaven Realm to act presumptuously. Did you get kicked in the head by a donkey or had your head pinched by the door?" The matter of the White Tiger killing the Emperor Dragon Guards that day had indeed caused quite a big commotion. Most likely, even the people from the Heaven Realm knew about it, so everything Chen Shang said was true. With their stupid brains, donkeys won't even bother kicking them. Duan Chong laughed. They knew that the Emperor Dragon Guards had been killed, that was why they sent people over to discuss the truth. But after they arrived, they found out that the Dragon Subduing School's leader was sealed up by the Fire Divine Palace, and that it was a seal made by an Immortal King. The seal formation they used was also very powerful, and it was very famous in the Heaven Realm. They did want to take advantage of the fact that the Dragon Subduing School was no longer here and occupy the Dragon Subduing School, but they could not figure out the specific strength of the Dragon Subduing School, so they decided to make a ruckus and see if a strong person could come out. From the discussions of the crowd, they knew that the elder who had just come out was a very powerful alchemist. However, in their eyes, he was just like Immortal, with not a single trace of innate qi. After Chen Zhang's Dantian went through a large-scale fusion process, a bizarre change occurred. The Dantian was surrounded by a grayish-black aura, so the innate qi inside would not leak out. Forget about the other party, even Long Shui could not feel the innate qi's fluctuations. "Let me deal with these three guys. I want to see how they destroy the dragon," Long Shui suddenly said, causing Chen Shang to be slightly startled, and Long Shui immediately left the ring. Then, a white light shot over from the distance, releasing a very dangerous aura. Especially that extremely strong dragon power, it made people feel that what was flying over was a super dragon, and the ground also crumbled due to the white light. In that instant, the place where the white light passed by, became as deep as a dried-up river. "This is Long Shui," she had immediately went to the evil dragon graveyard just now and flew over from there, making people think that she came out from the evil dragon graveyard. That domineering aura alone was enough to intimidate many people. It was as if they were facing a supreme expert that could be killed at any moment. However, what was surprising was that the person with such a strong aura was actually a woman. Although she was wearing a veil and a white skirt, just looking at her curvaceous back made one's imagination run wild. To think that there was such a powerful woman hidden in the Dragon Subduing School. Everyone felt that with her strength, she should be able to instantly kill that dragon-slaying clan member. "Who are you?" The old man from the dragon-slaying clan finally spoke, his voice carried incomparable shock, because Long Shui's dragon power was just too strong, as though it could crush heaven and earth. Furthermore, his body carried an extremely terrifying pressure, and the pressure not only caused ordinary dragons to feel fear, it also caused humans to tremble. Long Shui was half-veiled, and only the upper half of her face was revealed. However, it was already possible to see that she definitely had a beautiful face, and her pair of beautiful eyes was enough to hook many men's souls. "You only need to know that I am Dragon Subduing School's very high elder, you do not deserve to know my name." I have just come out of seclusion for 100,000 years in the Great Void Sect, and I already knew that someone had come to provoke our dragon-subduing school. Don't think that just because that little brat leader isn't here, you can easily trample over our dragon-subduing school. Long Shui's voice was very cold, but even his voice was able to make people feel a chill, making them feel like she was an aloof and exalted goddess, whom they could only look up to. Chen Shang hurriedly told Long Shui, "Little naughty dragon, don't pretend too much. Others' IQs are not low, don't think that everyone's head was kicked by a donkey." What Long Shui said just now was indeed nonsense. If it was anyone else, they would have been mocked, but this time, this beautiful person with a protruding front and back was releasing an extremely strong destructive pressure, making people feel that she had the power to destroy the heaven and earth. This was the first time they knew that the dragon-subduing school was hiding such a very high elder, and it was even the first time a girl was hiding here. Although the woman in front of them was very strong, they were still half convinced and half doubting what she was saying. You what? Are you doubting my words? When I was slaying the dragon, your ancestor that annihilated the dragon clan might not even have been born. Long Shui said in a domineering tone. She usually spoke with this tone when she was bragging, so she was not a stranger to her now. You're going to kill us. The old man calmed down, but the dragon power that was being released from Long Shui's body was still able to make him feel fear. This was the first time he had seen a dragon power of this level, even the strongest person in the dragon-slaying clan could not compare to it. Killing all of you will only dirty my hands. I will kill all of you. Long Shui said very arrogantly. It was rare for him to show up once, and if he wasn't arrogant, how could he bear to face the fact that he was sleeping and eating at the Dark Jade Ring, working so hard to raise his strength for so long? Chen Shang had always known that Long Shui was very strong, much stronger than him. It was just that she didn't have the chance to display it normally, so she couldn't be sure of her strength. Then I'll have to kill you first. That old man was enraged. Although the other party was powerful, he still looked down on them with such contempt. Furthermore, he had a resolute heart to kill them. Thus, he could only make a move first. This old man had clearly communicated with the middle-aged man and the young man earlier, telling them not to interfere and to just watch from the side. The old man was strong indeed. Even Immortal Monarch did not dare to face the power of the late period of human Immortal casually. A punch came over, the fist turned into a burning fire dragon, releasing a loud dragon roar, shaking the entire sky. The pressure released by the dragon power made the ground tremble. A violent punch that brought about a strong pressure that shook the earth and struck towards Long Shui's towering chest at an extremely fast speed. Chapter 1251. Long Shui's power was unfathomable. Chen Shang felt that she was stronger than him, so he did not need to worry about her, but he was more worried about the dragon-slaying clan. Right after arriving here, he did not even have the time to report his name, and had already provoked the violent dragon. The old man's fiery fist was not weak at all, and it was also very fast. Seeing that his brutal fist was about to land on the body of the charming girl, the hearts of everyone present couldn't help but beat wildly. However, after this fist landed, it was as if there was a force pushing it. Although the fist charged directly towards her, Long Shui's body moved backwards strangely, causing the fist to not hit her body, and the force on the fist also disappeared strangely. HMPH, isn't it just the Fire Dragon God Fist? What's so good about it? Furthermore, it's learned so poorly. Long Shui snorted in disdain, and then threw out a punch as well. Her fist was actually burning with a very strong flame, and the dragon head that was formed from her fist was even larger, more lifelike, like a dragon head. Before the old man could even be surprised, his chest was hit by the Fire Dragon God Fist. At the same time, a fire dragon penetrated through the old man's body and flew into the distance with a roar. The place where the fire dragon flew past ignited with flames on the ground, as if it was using flames to draw a straight line on the ground. That sudden burst of power and terrifying flames made even in Duan Chong, the strong ones, feel that they were impossible to catch up to. They no longer doubted what Long Shui said just now, they only felt that it was weird. Since when did Chen Shang find such a powerful very high elder, and it was even a woman, so they felt even more impressed by Chen Shang. The old man from the dragon-slaying clan took a few steps back. There was a large hole in his chest, but he did not know how Long Shui managed to do it, as he did not let the old man bleed. A living person was standing there, but there was a large hole in his chest. This was very strange. Speaking of exterminating a dragon, your ancestors aren't even worthy of carrying shoes for me. You actually dare to come here and act presumptuously. You all deserve to die. As Long Shui spoke, his body released a very strong, dragon-slaying qi. Chen Xiang was very surprised that she had accumulated so much dragon-slaying qi. It was much richer than his dragon-slaying qi. This kind of dragon-slaying fist, they were extremely familiar with. At this point, they knew that they had kicked an iron plate. This dragon-subduing school of the dragon-subduing school, in many ways, had exceeded their expectations. In terms of strength, the fire dragon god fist was much more genuine than the elders of their clan, and the tyrannical dragon-slaying qi was also something no one in their clan could compare to. If you have something to say, let's talk about it. Although the old man's chest had a big hole, he was still alive, but he felt that the qi on Long Shui's body was not right, and anxiously shouted. Go tell your ancestors. Long Shui's eyes flashed with a red light. She gently waved her jade-like palm, and a red light shot out from her palm and into the old man's body. Just as the old man was about to counterattack, he suddenly froze in place. He did not move, and soon after, a shocking scene appeared. Many red threads appeared on the old man's body, and the old man's body was actually cracking open. Flowers fall. Long Shui gently snorted. After that, the old man's body exploded, turning into blood-red fragments that fluttered in the air. It was as if a blood-red flower was fluttering in the wind. Looking at that bright red beauty floating towards the distant blood-red level, everyone shuddered. That was a single person, yet he died just like that. Master, the middle-aged man who killed the dragon clan shouted in horror. Let's go together. Long Shui waved her devilish jade hands, releasing 2 rays of red light that instantly entered the middle-aged man and the young man's bodies. Seeing this scene, everyone trembled. Long Shui was just like a witch in their eyes. Very soon, the bodies of the young man and the middle-aged man cracked open. The crack emitted a red light that caused one's scalp to go numb, and then it exploded, turning into pieces of red powder that floated in the wind like bright red flowers. Chen Xiang frowned slightly. He could already tell that when Long Shui struck earlier, he had mixed in some other energy, and felt that it was very likely to be the god wind. However, he could not be sure, because the divine power was originally invisible, so it would be difficult to discover when he used it. Although he also trained in the divine way, and he had also seen the divine way experts of the divine devil cult, he was not considered an official cultivator in his eyes, not even he himself could be considered one. As for the Long Shui in front of him, he was a genuine cultivator from the moment he was born. Even if she revealed a bit of her strength, Chen Xiang was still unable to see her true strength clearly. With just that little bit of strength, you dare come to my dragon-subduing school and clamor, you really do not know your place. To let you all die just like that, you are already considered very courteous. Long Shui said in a smug tone and then suddenly disappeared, while her cold and dignified voice continued to reverberate in the sky. After returning to the ring, this elegant and cold-looking beautiful dragon couldn't stop laughing. Because of what she did just now, she was very happy. She had stayed in the ring for so long, and it was rare for her to have a chance to relieve her boredom. When the 3 members of the dragon-slaying clan arrived, they were indeed very arrogant. However, they were all dead now. This made everyone feel as if they had died a miserable death. Because no one knew his name, they were all killed. With me, the very high elder, here, they actually dared to come here, and they didn't want to die this way. Serves them right. Long Shui laughed. He did not look like that very high elder just now. Disperse, Chen Xiang said to the rest. Li Baojun had already given some pellets to the injured disciples to eat. Their injuries had already improved a lot, and seeing their own sect have such powerful very high elder, these disciples all felt extremely proud. Of course, this was the first time they heard of this very high elder. Returning to the dragon-subduing city, Li Baojun and Duan Chong hurriedly asked about the very high elder. Leader, why haven't we seen this very high elder before? Did you invite him just now? Li Baojun asked. What a formidable woman, she seems to be even more powerful than the Grand Elder. Duan Chong said. Of course Long Shui wasn't as strong as the White Tiger, it was only because the White Tiger had restrained itself when it attacked, and Long Shui's surname was precisely like that. If she had the chance, she definitely wouldn't let it go. Even if she wasn't as powerful, she would make others think that she was stronger than anyone else, which was why she gave others this kind of pretense. With just a bit of bragging, Long Shui had already mastered it to perfection. With her own strength, she could easily fool anyone with a little bragging. It has existed for a long time, but she has always been in seclusion and did not show herself. That's why you all have not seen her. When I have the chance in the future, I will definitely ask her to move around the sect more and give some pointers to disciples. Chen Shang said in a perfunctory manner. If she let Long Shui teach her disciples, it would be equivalent to letting her brag, and at that time, she would definitely be bragging too much. Did not reveal his name as the Heavenly Dragon Supreme Lord just now, and Chen Shang would already be thankful. Is there any latest news from the Fire Divine Palace? Chen Shang asked. At the moment he was not personally watching Fire Divine Palace, he needed to train and increase his strength. Currently, there is only one piece of news. They are recruiting disciples, so even if they do not cultivate fire, they can still recruit disciples to the Fire Divine Palace. Moreover, they still have some high-level pills to attract some strong practitioners. Duan Chong said. Chen Shang walked back and forth a few steps, thought for a bit, and said, Elder Li, you have also started to plan and recruit your followers. As long as you are strong enough to pass through the 7 stages of Nirvana, and use the heaven-level pills as reward, if you pass through the 8 stages of Nirvana, you can give them Flying Dan S. Chapter 1252. In terms of recruiting strong warriors, Chen Shang would definitely not fall behind in the battle with the Fire Divine Palace. Just to make them our hanger-ons, not disciples of the Dragon Subduing School, so that when the time comes someone will take advantage of the situation to take advantage of us, and we have to guard against them. As for the benefits, that's better than the Fire Divine Palace, I can afford it. Chen Shang said. Li Baojun nodded his head. If we have Hunyuan Dan S as rewards, then we will definitely attract a lot of strong warriors. That Fire Divine Palace uses all the high-grade ground-level pills and a few heaven-level pills. If leader can truly have a large number of high-grade pills, I think our hanger-ons will grow strong very quickly. No problem, wait for me for a while out. Chen Shang had originally planned to think of a way to raise his cultivation, but it seemed that he would have to first refine a large group of Hunyuan Dan S. As for Flying Dan S, he would leave them to Li Baojun to refine. He returned to the Dragon Vein. Right now, he had to condense a large number of creation divine liquid and use them to duplicate a large amount of medicinal ingredients for the heaven-level pellets. For example, there were 2 main ingredients for Hunyuan Dan. For example, Chen Shang could only copy one of the 3 days' worth of ingredients, which was 10 in a month. If it were other ground-level pills, he would be able to make a huge pile of them in a month. However, he was already very satisfied. If it was anyone else, they would need to grow 10 sets of Hunyuan Dan's main medicinal ingredients. Who knew how long it would take? If I had tried my best, I would have been able to produce 4 pills in a single furnace. There are only 40 pills in 10 batches, but it's enough to recruit 40 people for half a year. Giving them a Hunyuan Dan every 6 months is a very good deal. Although Chen Shang ate Hunyuan Dan like he ate beans, for others, it was already considered good to have one every year. Now that they are using pills to recruit people to join them, it looks like they will not attack for a while, unless they are able to gather their energy and add a large amount of pills, they will not dare to attack. The prerequisite is that, the immortal monarch who was cultivating in the divine way will not take action. If the immortal monarch takes the lead, I am afraid that the Fire Divine Palace will attack much earlier. Long Shui said. Little naughty dragon, you revealed a few moves previously. If you make a move, can you kill that immortal monarch? Chen Shang asked. No, I can't. Unless I have 10 more years to live, I won't be able to defeat that guy. The reason I was able to kill the dragon-slaying clan was because those guys were too weak actually, it's very much because they were frightened by me. Long Shui laughed tenderly. So sometimes boasting in battle is also a very strong tactic. You also know that you're bragging. You know your own limits. Chen Shang laughed. Oh right, are you using the God Wind? I keep having the feeling that when you made your move, you were hiding some other energy. Not at all. If I am able to use the real God Wind, you can bring me to the Fire Divine Palace right now and kill that Fire Divine Palace who cultivates the spirit. Long Shui said. But it's already very powerful, but you can't use it. That's the special ability of my White Dragon clan. Even if we don't use the divine powers to transform into divine powers, we can still use it to attack. Chen Shang nodded, and said, so it turns out that you have yet to reach that realm. Long Shui replied, of course it's difficult, but to me, it's just a matter of time. If it was you, you would need a long time to cultivate, become a worldly immortal first, and then you would need more divine power. If not, you would know how much divine power to condense the God Wind, just like how you use the powerful mysterious flame. I think you would be able to drain your divine power in an instant. Chen Shang took in a deep breath. He already had a lot of divine power in his current divine sense C, but condensing a god wind would only take an instant. When I've finished preparing the Hunyuan Dan's medicinal ingredients, I'll go look for the heaven-level pellets that can strengthen my divine soul. It's been a long time since I've looked for the medicinal ingredients, I hope to be able to find them. Chen Shang mumbled, closed his eyes, and concentrated on refining the creation divine liquid. A time passed in the blink of an eye. 2 months had passed and Chen Shang had come out of the dragon vein, arriving at the City Lord's mansion, but the moment he arrived, he sensed that there were dozens of powerful auras here. They were all unfamiliar auras, but to this new imperial heaven world, he could be considered a group of people that were very strong. However, these auras were not calm and they would fluctuate from time to time. Obviously, it was because of the influence of their emotions. Arriving at a large hall, he saw that there were many experts of extraordinary strength here. There were men, women, old and young, and there were also many more of them than he could sense. There were over 100 of them. What's going on? Once Chen Shang arrived and saw that it was a noisy place, some people's faces and ears were flushed red, as if they could fight at any time. Chen Shang swept his eyes across the people here. All of them had passed through the 7 nirvana tribulations, and in these 2 months, Duan Chong and Li Baojun had indeed recruited a few disciples. The old man and the middle-aged man mostly looked the same, but there were quite a few young ones as well. The old man and the middle-aged man mostly looked the same, and there were quite a few young ones. More than half of them are here to poach. They should be sent by the Fire Divine Palace. Li Baojun said. It was obvious that he had gotten used to this kind of thing. An old man walked out and said loudly, "What poaching? We just do not want our friends to be deceived by you. What's so good about being your dragon-subduing school's hanger-on? Although there are powerful elders who are suppressed by you, but they all seem to be indifferent, everyone knows that your dragon-subduing school will sooner or later be destroyed by your Fire Divine Palace. If your Fire Divine Palace attacks your Chen Martial continent, your dragon-subduing school will definitely help, and all of your hanger-ons will definitely die. We just cannot bear to see all of these hard-working cultivators close to flying friends being buried by your hands." Duan Chong and Li Baojun had other plans as to be able to persuade these people to enter the City Lord's mansion. If they were to be persuaded to leave, they would not become their hanger-ons, so Li Baojun and Duan Chong was not worried about them arguing with each other here. Furthermore, in order to gain the confidence of the demons, they allowed the demons to burn, kill and plunder in the human realm. However, all of you turned a blind eye, and even bragged about the good news of the Fire Divine Palace every day. Didn't you all see how the Fire Divine Palace was being scolded so badly by the people in the human realm? A woman said coldly. Chen Shang could already tell that those who were persuaded to leave had already left, but those who stayed behind were mostly itinerant cultivators, who could not bear to see Fire Divine Palace and demon and devil realms colluding with each other. Even if they did not want the pills given by the dragon-subduing school, they would still join the dragon-subduing school. When we came, we had already decided to fight against the Fire Divine Palace. We didn't have enough power ourselves, so we had to join hands with many knowledgeable people, and we definitely could not let a fellow like the Fire Divine Palace, who has a heart of a snake and a heart of a scorpion, obtain the dragon veins of the Chen Martial continent. For the future DTN, that would only be a disaster. An old man sat on a chair, closed his eyes and spoke indifferently. The reason you people came here to persuade us is because you have obtained the benefits of the Fire Divine Palace. You should be worried that you will be ruthlessly killed by the people here in the battlefield in the future before coming here to persuade us. Chen Shang suddenly said, "If they are not my dragon-subduing school's hanger-ons, they are all on the side. Let me see who is the one who actually did such an ungrateful thing. Don't you know that it is because of the Fire Divine Palace that the spirit demon beings are able to invade the human realm at such a large scale? Even if there is a force that wants to attack the spirit demon beings, they will all be stopped by the Fire Divine Palace, you know that clearly. I will remember your faces. Leave dragon-subduing city quickly and I will not forgive you if I see you again in the future." Chen Zhang's voice was filled with killing intent. "Before I change my mind, hurry up and get lost." A few people on the scene recognized this person who had suddenly appeared. The immortal King Wang Chongjin of the Fire Divine Palace had previously lost to this person when he was refining pills, and it was a tragic loss at that. People who concoct pills were very powerful, but they did have a very high position in a force. This was because everyone saw that Li Baojun and Duan Chong, the two elders, were very respectful to him. Chapter 1253. This group of people, who were sent by the Fire Divine Palace to openly persuade people to leave, had not been chased away by the dragon subduing school even after causing a ruckus here for so many days. Yet, they suddenly heard such vicious words from them, causing them to be stunned for a moment. The people who dared to mess around here were all people who were quite strong and had some guts. Now that they were told to scram, they would definitely feel very sullen if they left just like that. However, this was their territory, so they couldn't do anything about it. Just as they were about to turn around and leave, Chen Shang suddenly said, "These past 2 months, I have refined some Hunyuan Dan. Since everyone here is a follower of our dragon subduing school, we will definitely not treat you unfairly." They wanted to see how many Hunyuan Dan there were. After all, the dragon subduing school had 40 hanger-ons, it was impossible to only take 1 pellet per person, that was 40 Hunyuan Dan, even for a large force like the Fire Divine Palace, it was still a large number. Even if the Fire Divine Palace had them, it would not be so straightforward. Chen Shang took out a large jade box and opened it, a hazy golden mist immediately floated out, the mist dispersed throughout the hall and a rich medicinal fragrance pervaded within, causing one to feel refreshed. When the hanger-ons saw it, their eyes immediately opened wide. When they came to Dragon Subduing School, Li Baojun had promised to give them the appropriate reward, but they didn't really expect anything, they only wanted to help the Dragon Subduing School fight against the Fire Divine Palace. Most of these hanger-ons were rogue cultivators, so high-level pills were very difficult for them. Even if they painstakingly gathered ingredients, they would still need to find an alchemist to refine them. If they failed, they wouldn't need to be responsible. The dozens of golden Hunyuan Dan in the jade box caused the eyes of those from Fire Divine Palace to turn red. They did not receive such good treatment in Fire Divine Palace. Each of you can take 1 pellet. If nothing goes wrong, you can get 1 pellet every half year. If you have friends who need to ascend, you can also get 1 flying Dan. Chen Zhang's words caused everyone to be shocked. Half a year later, a Hunyuan Dan. Although the Hunyuan Dan were low-grade heaven-level pills, they were still very connected to the herbs. Every half a year, if there was 1 Hunyuan Dan, for these rogue cultivators, it would be given an extremely high level of treatment. Even if there were a lot of spar, they would not be able to buy so many. Chen Shang gave the jade box to Li Baojun for him to distribute. He had long known that Chen Shang was a rich alchemist, but now he couldn't help but feel shocked. If he could produce so many Hunyuan Dan in half a year, then the Dragon Subduing School would surely be able to rule over this DTN. Every half a year, they would receive a single Hunyuan Dan. This would definitely allow them to advance by leaps and bounds, but it was already too late, their appearances had already been remembered, and previously, they had been saying that Dragon Subduing School was in bad shape, but now, if they were to join the Dragon Subduing School, no matter how thick-skinned they were, they would not be able to do such a thing. After sending out the Hunyuan Dan, Chen Shang chatted with these hanger-ons for a while before coming to the backyard with Li Baojun. "Elder Li, this is the Flying Dan's medicine, you can refine some if you have the time. I still don't know how to refine them, and I don't have the time to learn them." The corner of his mouth twitched. There were actually 29 death-soaring flower, which was enough to make 20 batches of pills. However, this type of pill was not a pill that required a lot of energy to refine. If everything went well, he could concoct 40 of these pills, which was enough to use. If this news gets out, many more people will want to become my Dragon Subduing School's hanger-ons. By then, I'm afraid that there won't be enough pills, would we still have to recruit disciples? Li Baojun asked. 100 places is the limit. Chen Shang said. We don't need to keep these hanger-ons for too long, as long as the war with the Fire Divine Palace is over, it'll only be for 2 to 3 years. Currently, there were very few Nirvana Realm warriors in Dragon Subduing School. Many of them were young people in Dragon Subduing School and would need some time to grow. Following that, Chen Shang still had to refine a few Hunyuan Dan to give to Li Baojun, so he could only continue his closed-door cultivation to condense the creation divine liquid. After copying the Hunyuan Dan's medicinal ingredients, he had to immediately refine them into Hunyuan Dan, which was very busy, causing him to not have time to do other things. Chen Shang tossed and turned for another 2 months, and after getting 80 Hunyuan Dan to give to Li Baojun, he finally relaxed a lot, and after that, he needed to think about himself. He also needed to quickly raise his strength, and his friends who were at the same age as him, such as Yun Xiaodao, would all be immersed in their training every day, their cultivations soaring extremely fast. If he didn't increase his speed, then he might be the last one to ascend. Damn Fire Divine Palace, this makes me so anxious. Chen Shang said in his heart. Although the Fire Divine Palace would not directly attack the Dragon Subduing School at that time, his Dragon Subduing School would definitely go and help. Long Shui said. Right now, we do not know when they will attack, but you are worrying all day, why not we strike first? You can't possibly be too passive, at that time I will strike too. With Long Shui's current strength, as long as he did not have to face those immortal kings, no one would be able to do anything to her. It's indeed a good idea to make the first move. I had thought of it before, but our strength is still too weak compared to the Fire Divine Palace. Chen Shang shook his head and said. We need to find someone who can catch us off guard. Fire Divine Palace is a powerful force that has allied with the demons in the human realm, that's why they think that it's scary. And their Fire Divine Palace's greatest threat are the two immortal kings and the immortal monarch that cultivates the divine way. Long Shui said. The powers that are colluding with the Fire Divine Palace are just because of how strong they are. If we could attack them directly, those powers that are colluding with the Fire Divine Palace would definitely be shaken. At that time, they might not form an alliance with the Fire Divine Palace, and at the same time, they won't act against us. Chen Shang thought for a while, then said, if we really have to do this, then we need to know the Fire Divine Palace's base, and also need to gather all our strength to attack. We cannot attack for too long, we have to leave a path of retreat. Of course, it's just that you, the Dragon Subduing School, cannot do it alone, so you have to go to the Chen Martial continent and negotiate with the big shots of those powers, letting them contribute their energy and provide resources. Long Shui said. Chen Shang and Long Shui discussed for an entire night and came up with a general plan. After that, they would look for Li Baojun and Duan Chong and share their thoughts with them, which they all expressed their agreement. How about this, Elder Duan, you will train some of the strongest disciples, this is used for surprise attacks, only 300 to 500 people will do. Elder Li, continue to refine pills, at that time, you will have enough pills, especially healing and detoxifying pills, don't tell this news to your henchmen for now, not even to the core disciples. I will make a trip to Chen Martial continent to talk with them. Chen Shang said. Chen Shang felt that it was about time for him to show his face. He had to go at that time, and he had to reveal all of his wealth. He first came to the Divine Weapon's heavenly country, and went to the Divine Weapon Profound Realm, to look for Leng Yulan and Shui Shenxian. Elder Pan came to find us, but I never thought that so many complicated things would happen at Icy Wind Valley's side. Also, thank you for extending Elder Pan's life. The moment Shui Shenxian saw Chen Shang, he hurriedly brought up the matter, and lightly touched Chen Zhang's face. There's no need to be polite with me. I'm here for an important matter. Call Yulan over. Chen Shang also kissed her forehead. There was no need to shout. Leng Yulan ran in and let go of the white hair that was just tied up, he flung it away and let it fall around his shoulders. I thought I was going to give you guys some space, so when I saw you guys coming over, I prepared to go train. Leng Yulan said. Chen Shang laughed. You are preparing to train, why are you still around? Leng Yulan stuck out his tongue and said, if you have something important to say, say it. Chen Zhang's face immediately became serious. It's a very important matter, but I need to ask for your opinion on it. That is, we cannot sit still and wait for death, we plan to attack first to attack Fire Divine Palace. Chapter 1254. After Leng Yulan heard this, he immediately became excited. I agree, we should have long been killing these bastards, forcing them to be so tight. Shui Shenxian thought for a moment, then nodded. Do you have a concrete plan? Chen Shang said. I do, but first I need you all to refine a transmission array plate that I can carry around with me, and then a death-haunting arrow like this. He took out the death-haunting arrow and continued to speak. Your Divine Weapon Sect's secret hall should have this kind of item. The quality must be good, it requires around 500 of these. Our secret hall only has 100 people, and they are all first-rate assassins who have been carefully trained to be masters. You should know that to use Death-Haunting Arrow, you need to have a strong concealment ability, and also need a large amount of highly toxic poison. Shui Shenxian said, the refining method of the Death-Haunting Arrow was something that Lu Menger and Dongfang Xinyue had passed on to her. Refining 500 at a time, this was a huge feat, and he also needed to refine the transmission array's array disk. Of course, this was all for the sake of silently attacking the Fire Divine Palace. I have the person, so you don't have to worry. Can you guys finish it though? If it was within a year, you guys could probably make a lot of it. Chen Shang asked. Shui Shenxian and Leng Yulan looked at each other and said, if you add in the formation plate, we should be able to complete it within a year, but we'll be a bit busy. Leng Yulan patted Chen Zhang's shoulder, and laughed, brother, it's not like the two of us are going to refine it, when that time comes, we will use the secret refining team from the Divine Weapon sect to help us. So that's the case, I have a strong poison, and a very strong one at that, you don't have to worry about that, when the time comes, I guarantee that I can catch the Fire Divine Palace off guard. Chen Shang also laughed, his laugh was extremely sinister. Then go find Qianchen and have her Dan Fragrance Pure Land refine some more pills. We'll need them when the time comes. Shui Shenxian said. Although the Dragon Subduing School was also refining pills, that was for the entire Dragon Subduing School. If the Dan Fragrance Pure Land was to join, the pressure on him would be greatly reduced. Yes, I will go now. Chen Shang nodded. Just go and discuss the proper matters. Don't go to her place and mess around, don't hurt her. Shui Shenxian looked at Chen Shang with a profound gaze, and said softly. Chen Shang was startled. I know. After leaving the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country, Chen Shang did not immediately go to the Dan Fragrance Pure Land, but instead, went there. The current leader was called Chen Jiantian, and he was an elder of the Super Martial School in the past. Furthermore, his strength was not bad, of course, he was weaker than Ji Yu Dongchen. Currently, Super Martial School's overall strength was still very strong. Although Ji Yu Dongchen, Wu Kaming and Huang Jintian were not present, Super Martial School was still the leader of the Chen Martial Continent. If they wanted to attack the Fire Divine Palace, naturally they would need the Super Martial School's help. Inside the Super Martial Profound Realm, Chen Jiadian and Chen Shang were in a secret room. When he found out that Chen Shang had sneaked out of the seal without anyone noticing, he was extremely shocked, but after being surprised, he felt that it was a very normal thing. Chen Jiantian was a middle-aged man, and always had a very kind smile on his face. If it was in turn, Chen Shang should be considered his elder since he was after all the disciple of a few previous leader. Old Chen, I won't waste time with you. This time, I've come to let you all prepare. Chen Shang went straight to the point, and said, prepare to attack Fire Divine Palace, we cannot let them attack us all the time, we need to fight them too. The Fire Divine Palace was very strong overall, and she even had an immortal king, but Chen Jia knew that Chen Shang would never do something that he had no confidence in. Tell me what our Chen Martial Continent is going to do first. Chen Jiantian asked. Before we attack, we will figure out the number of experts they have, and at that time, we will have someone who can fight against their experts. Then, the Super Martial School will have to directly attack the other disciples of their Fire Divine Palace, which is only a temporary plan, so we need your Super Martial School to prepare and select a few good disciples to train with. No problem. If the Fire Divine Palace attacks the Chen Martial Continent, then our Super Martial School will also fight. It would be better for us to act earlier so that we can lessen the pressure. When do you plan to make your move? Li Jiayi asked. Around a year, I feel that the Fire Divine Palace is about to attack the Chen Martial Continent. They had previously had one of their Sacred Fire School killed, so they need to take a breather, and the last time they came to our Dragon Subduing City to provoke us, they lost a lot of pills as well, so they don't have enough strength in the near future. Chen Shang said. Fire Divine Palace and that Divine Devil cult also secretly clashed with each other, causing Fire Divine Palace to suffer a certain amount of losses, which was why Chen Shang was so sure. Hearing Chen Shang mention about the Sacred Fire School, Chen Jiatian's heart was moved. He had thought that the matter of the Sacred Fire School being killed had a huge secret, and now he was sure that it was Chen Shang who had killed him secretly. After greeting the Super Martial School, Chen Shang went to the Lotus Island again. The island master of the Lotus Island was also a talented person, he was the son of Lian Yingxiao, and the relationship between Lian Yingxiao and him was not bad. One of the sons, Lian Mingdong, was Evan's friend. Therefore, Chen Shang and the new island master could not really get along well. If not, Lian Yingxiao would not have passed on the position to him. He was the same as Lian Yingxiao, he had extremely handsome looks. Chen Shang told him of his plans to attack Fire Divine Palace, and he agreed to participate as well. He would immediately make preparations in secret, and when that happened, they would work together to catch Fire Divine Palace off guard. Finally, Chen Shang went to the Dan Fragrance Pure Land. As for the Proud Sword Sect and the Beast Martial School, these two sects had long since fallen, and there were even some core members of the sect who went to the Fire Divine Palace to seek refuge. That was why Chen Shang did not go and find them. She had to be like Chen Shang, who did not need the foreseeing alchemy to refine the heaven-level pills. She knew that if she used the foreseeing alchemy, it would still take a very, very long time to refine the heaven level. Chen Shang entered the cave inside the Dan Fragrance Pure Land and arrived at the secret room. Seeing that Wu Qianchen had just opened his eyes, he laughed. "Little Qianchen, you are really working hard. I'm older than you should call me Sister Qianchen." Wu Qianchen rolled his eyes at him. Just as he got off the bed, Chen Shang turned into a gust of wind and flew over, hugging this beautiful tender girl and letting her sit on his lap. Seeing that Wu Qianchen's elegant and beautiful face had a tinge of redness on it, he couldn't help but kiss that pink lips of hers. Cultivating consciousness is truly difficult. I really don't know when I'll be able to reach your level. You're truly a freak, yet your consciousness is this strong. Wu Qianchen lightly leaned on Chen Zhang's chest, and faintly sighed. Chen Shang also wanted her to quickly raise her consciousness. After all, it was extremely useful for refining pills, but it wouldn't be fast unless he could find the god-demon cool water used by the divine devil cult and help Wu Qianchen cultivate a divine way soul nascent soul. Even Long Shui was unable to quickly raise a person's consciousness. Take your time, this kind of thing cannot be rushed. You must have a steady path, or else you will easily go berserk. Chen Shang supported her hair. Yeah, I just don't want the gap between you and me to get bigger and bigger. Wu Qianchen lifted his head and passionately kissed Chen Shang for a moment. At this time, Chen Shang finally mentioned to Wu Qianchen about the matter of attacking the Fire Divine Palace, but the other powers had already agreed to it, so of course Wu Qianchen would not oppose it. Furthermore, she had wanted to do this for a long time, so every single force within the Chen martial continent was being forced into a tight corner. After greeting all the different forces in Chen martial continent, Chen Shang even went to Devil Subduing College, which was a force that had always had a lot of grudges against Fire Divine Palace. Zhuo Junxuan promised very quickly, and at that time, he would definitely give his all to attack Fire Divine Palace, because Devil Subduing College was also a big threat to him. So if Chen Martial Continent and Dragon Subduing School were to be killed, it was very likely that Devil Subduing College would be next. I'll have to work hard next. Hopefully, I'll be able to increase my strength a little within a year. Once my identity is revealed, quite a few guys will come after me. Returning to the dragon vein, Chen Shang took a deep breath, then began to condense the creation divine liquid. Chapter 1255. Chen Shang knew that he wouldn't be able to raise his strength much with just a little bit of time, but he wanted to give it a try. He wanted to go all out so that he could see how much he could improve during this year. Don't forget to copy those black blood magic sunflower. When you use those death-haunting arrow, without any poison, their power will be greatly reduced. Long Shui reminded him, afraid that he would forget. Black blood magic sunflowers were powerful poisons under the effects of the banned poison. During the surprise attack, this poison could be used a lot, so Chen Shang would definitely not forget about it. I know that. After Chen Zhang's flame increased, he refined Hunyuan Dan at a much faster rate. Previously, when he and Wang Chongjin were refining pellets, due to the fact that the flame was not strong enough, he used a lot of time. But now, he was more than twice as fast as before, able to refine 2 batches in 1 day and 1 night. Using the god purification was not always a success. Chen Shang had already failed 3 times, but at his current age, he still had such a high success rate for refining Hunyuan Dan, which was considered very impressive. Right now, the majority of people who were able to concoct the heaven-level pill would have to live for many years, and only people who had trained their foreseeing alchemy to over 100 would be able to successfully refine it. Right now, he was not in a hurry to refine other heaven-level pills, because the current situation was extremely tense. He had no intention of learning to refine new pills. Moreover, right now, with Hunyuan Dan, he would be able to hold on for a very long time. After the news that every 6 months, a few disciples that went to the Fire Divine Palace first had a change of heart and went to the Dragon Subduing School, but not everyone in the Dragon Subduing School had accepted them. The conditions to become a guest of the Dragon Subduing School were very high, so a large number of people were rejected outside the door. Even if they could not join the Dragon Subduing School, those people did not plan to go there anymore. Right now, everyone could tell that the Dragon Subduing School was extremely powerful, with such a rich medicinal base. In this aspect, he had already surpassed the Fire Divine Palace. If they were to join the Fire Divine Palace, if they were to fight with the Dragon Subduing School in the future, maybe they would lose their lives. As for the hanger-ons of the Dragon Subduing School, They were all people that Li Baojun and Duan Chong had checked on, and were not afraid of the Fire Divine Palace, so even if the Dragon Subduing School and the Fire Divine Palace clashed in the future, these strong warriors would not cower. These hanger-ons were all rogue cultivators. They could be said to be the top rogue cultivators in the new Imperial Heaven world over the years. Some of them even lived for tens of thousands of years, but there were only 100. Although this group of rogue cultivators were at the peak of Nirvana realm, they were still lacking when compared to those sects. Therefore, not only did Li Baojun give them some Hunyuan Dan, he also gave them quite a few ground-level pills, which were extremely helpful to these rogue cultivators. The Divine Weapons Heavenly Country had already refined 500 death-haunting arrow and sent them all to the Dragon Subduing School. It had only been half a year, and during this period, Chen Shang had come out once, and that was to take out the refined black blood magic sunflower and let the disciples familiarize themselves with the death-haunting arrows using the poison. However, this matter was handled by Duan Chong, and their Duan clan was extremely familiar with this kind of thing, so Chen Shang did not need to focus on it. A year passed by quickly. When Chen Shang came out of the Dragon Fountain, he had been working hard to cultivate. Although his innate chi had improved, he was still a long ways away from attracting the 8 Nirvana tribulations. Everything was ready. The next step was to investigate the location of the Fire Divine Palace, and then bring the transmission array disc over, allowing the one in the lead to go over first and catch the Fire Divine Palace off guard. The array disc had already been delivered. Leng Yulan, Shui Shenxian, and the Divine Weapon Sect's Grand Masters had been busy for a whole year before they managed to refine it. It was extremely rare. During this year, all the various sects in Chen Martial Continent had been working hard to prepare for their attacks. Now, they were all waiting for the right time to attack. Before this, Chen Shang had gone to the other sects in the Chen Martial Continent to tell them that he would be able to attack them soon. All the sects had secretly set up transmission arrays and connected them to the formation plate. They could very quickly send a large number of disciples to attack. The strength of the Fire Divine Palace, these sects all knew about it, but even so, they could not wait for them to kill them. Ever since the news of the Chen Martial Continent possessing the Dragon Vein spread, the pressure on the people in the upper echelons of the Chen Martial Continent was not small, and they were constantly worried that a large group of strong forces would attack them. The various sects in Chen Martial Continent did not want to remain in a passive position, so they retaliated, fighting back with all their might. When Chen Shang went to the sects, he saw many young faces. Although the disciples were young, they were all strong. There were many in the Nirvana realm, and some of them even went through the 7 or 8 tribulations of the Nirvana realm. Chen Shang obviously did not want to send such young and talented disciples to their deaths, so he went to White Tiger Profound Realm. When the White Tiger heard that Chen Shang was going to attack Fire Divine Palace, it was a little surprised. It thought that all this while, the information that it had received would be that the Fire Divine Palace would attack Chen Martial Continent at any time, but now, everything had been reversed. You want to borrow the members of our White Tiger fighting race. After all, Chen Zhang's Dragon Subduing School in Chen Martial Continent did not have a strong rancor like the Immortal King Immortal Monarch. If the Immortal Monarch took action, no matter how strong the elites they sent over would be, they would all die. Yes, there is a very powerful Immortal Monarch in the Fire Divine Palace. He cultivated the Divine Way and easily killed that vice-sect leader of the Divine Devil cult. Chen Shang said, when the time comes, you all can avoid coming out to fight, as long as you stop those Immortal Monarchs, it will be fine. Divine Devil cult, that fellow who cultivates both gods and demons has indeed established his own sect. However, according to his surname, this Divine Devil cult shouldn't be anything good. However, you're different. I can ask Bai Zan to bring some little fellows over. No matter what, I am still the great elder of the Dragon Subduing School. Quote, Chen Shang had let him obtain the Dark Rule spiritual bead, and had allowed him to grasp the terrifying power of the ancient code. Just by this point, he felt that it was difficult to repay Chen Shang. Chen Shang was the patriarch of the White Tiger fighting race, so he didn't know how strong he was, but it was fine if he was strong. He led the 2 old men and the 30 young men to follow Chen Shang out of the White Tiger Profound Realm. Bai Zan was extremely familiar with Dragon Subduing School. Upon his arrival, Lan Lan, Yan Yanran, Duan Sanchang and the rest all rushed over to pay their respects. They had been together for a while, and were very respectful to this benevolent-looking old man. At this time, Yan Yanran and the others were even more sure that Chen Shang had returned, it was just that he had hidden himself, otherwise, they would not be able to invite Baizan and the others here. Chapter 1256. Where the Fire Divine Palace was, many people did not know. Because the headquarters of the Fire Divine Palace was a secretive place, they had definitely considered the possibility of being attacked by others. Everyone only knew that Fire Divine Palace had a profound ice city over there, but that was definitely not the Fire Divine Palace's headquarters. Chen Xiang was now thought to be sealed inside the profound ice city, guarded by a immortal king herself. However, when necessary, this immortal king could come out. Didn't you follow them to the Devil Realm last time? Long Shui reminded Chen Xiang. Wang Chongjin is a devil cultivator, so it's not bad to be at Devil Realm, but I feel like the place she stayed at last time wasn't Fire Divine Palace's headquarters. Chen Xiang said. Now that everything was ready, he just had to clearly investigate the situation in the middle of Fire Divine Palace. Only Chen Xiang was qualified to do such a thing. Chen Xiang first came to the Devil Realm. He wanted to look for the core members of the Fire Divine Palace in order to find out where the Fire Divine Palace's headquarters was. Fire Divine Palace should be like you guys, nurturing some outstanding disciples and waiting to attack Chen Martial Continent. Long Shui said. Chen Xiang searched through a few cities in Devil Realm, but he was unable to find anyone. They have joined up with the demons, I think they should be together. If they were to attack, they would definitely not establish a good transmission array in the Chen Martial Continent like last time. That would only end up killing the people there, so they should also be using an array disk. The Fire Divine Palace does not lack these things. Chen Xiang thought for a moment, then continued, when the time comes. The demons will definitely be one of the main forces, and it will also be the type to charge and charge. With so many of them, the combined power of the demons will definitely be quite a lot, so the transmission array that they are using here should be very large. The demons and the Fire Divine Palace's disciples should be gathered together to facilitate the teleportation and do not need to build too many transmission arrays. If you want to build this kind of gigantic transmission array, you have to rely on a relatively large sporite vein. There aren't many sporite vein in this group of demons, so you'll understand after checking a bit. Long Shui said. The demon and devil realms also used spar, but Chen Xiang had many of these things, so he quickly obtained news about all the sporite vein in the devil realm and the devil realm. In the end, Chen Xiang decided to head towards the area where the demon and devil realms met up with the sporite vein. Because the two sporite vein were not too far away and were located on either side of the demon and devil realms, if they were used in this way, it would not cause any conflicts between demons, and the establishment of the transmission array would also allow them to borrow the energy of the two sporite vein. The demon and devil realms' sporite vein were not dominated by one force like the human realms, because there were simply too few sporite vein here. So most of them were developed together, and if one wanted to occupy them, that was fine, but that was only if one had extremely strong power and could defend against multiple forces. Chen Xiang traveled through the night, and there were many people waiting for their news. As long as he replied them and opened the array, Chen Martial Continent, Dragon Subduing School and the others would immediately send their specially trained elite disciples to kill him. Of course, the first batch would definitely be the 500 people from Dragon Subduing School who used Death Haunting Arrow. Only after running for about 10 days did Chen Xiang get close to that place. He also asked around along the way and found out that it was relatively dangerous because those powers that divided up such large sporite veins would not allow anyone to get near them. If they were discovered, they would usually be killed. This place was filled with bare high mountains. If one looked for miles, they would see desolation, but the spiritual energy here was extremely rich. Chen Xiang used his mind to explore around, and arrived at the place with the densest spirit energy. That should be the place above the large sporite vein, and the divine soul that he used to explore from there looked down from high up in the sky, and he discovered that there were caves all over the huge mountains below. Some of the huge mountains were even covered by the large formation, and there were even many devil cultivators who were not weak patrolling around. It had to be known that in the devil realm, just the names of those few great devils and powers were enough to scare many devil cultivator, and many devil cultivator did not dare to approach them. Chen Xiang felt that he found the right place. The Heaven Tour was much more nimble than him. He had already activated it and split into many different sets of divine soul, going through the array formations and entering the caves. No one from Fire Divine Palace, but there are indeed some with decent strength training inside. This place is still not their base. Long Shui said. Chen Xiang looked in one direction. It was the place where the Devil Realm and the Devil Realm met. Passing through many bare mountains, Chen Shang suddenly felt the aura of a weak array formation in front of him. If not for the fact that he and Long Shui were divine cultivators with strong divine powers, it would be difficult to discover them. The mountain here was even taller than before. Moreover, it was not as bare as before. There were all sorts of green trees on it, giving off a lively vibe. Chen Shang ran all the way here. He did not dare to fly in the air, afraid that he would be discovered. If you touch that formation, it might be troublesome. It should be here, Long Shui said. I will go investigate first. I think they are hiding underground, and from a high altitude, I can see that they are all green mountains. They do not have any buildings, but they have a very powerful formation. Chen Shang patiently waited for the results of Long Shui's investigations. Half an hour later, Long Shui's voice became serious. It's right here, but the overall strength of these fellows are indeed very scary. I never expected them to secretly train so many top-notch powerful demons, as well as fire elementalists of the Fire Divine Palace. If they were to attack the Chen Martial Continent at the entrance that they just recruited, even if the sects of the Chen Martial Continent can retreat, the civilians above would definitely not be able to escape the doom. Chen Shang asked anxiously, what kind of strength do you have? Seeing how nervous Chen Shang was, Long Shui laughed, there are a lot of Nirvana realm demons, but you don't have to worry. If there's a surprise attack, winning over a few will not be a problem. They built a huge underground palace. They can open up the formation plates there and teleport people here for a surprise attack. Chen Shang used the power of the spatial laws to travel through space, passing through the powerful formation, then turned into a small flying bug, and flew towards the direction that Long Shui had discovered. He carefully flew for an entire day before finally arriving at the underground palace. It was indeed huge, even bigger than the one he met in the profound cold ancient realm. It was just that it was not as strict as the one he met in the profound cold ancient realm because it was filled with humans, demons and monsters. Chapter 1257. Below, there was a very large plaza. There were many disciples of the Spirit Demon and Fire Divine Palace were sparring and conducting combat training. There were many strong warriors present to guide them. When Chen Shang came to this place, he understood why Long Shui was so serious when he spoke earlier. Within this incomparably enormous underground plaza, there were tens of millions of people gathered here. If such a power suddenly descended upon the Chen Martial Continent, then the consequences would be unimaginable. It would definitely cause the Chen Martial Continent to lose a large amount of blood. The demons in this place were extremely vicious. Although it was just a spar, sometimes it was more real. They killed each other to death, and sometimes, there would even be mass fighting. The thing that made Chen Shang most disgusted was that once the demons died, a group of demons would immediately pounce on him and snatch their bodies away, so the disciples of the Fire Divine Palace were all far away from the demons. Not long after entering, Chen Shang saw many demons that had just died, and were so strong that not a single strand of hair remained. When the blood dripped down, a group of demons would rush to lick it, causing Chen Zhang's scalp to go numb. Fire Divine Palace. Chen Shang looked at the tens of thousands of Fire Divine Palace disciples in the distance. Although they did not have many people, they were all very strong and were elites, different from the Fire Divine Palace disciples that Chen Shang had talked about. If you want to kill them, you have to kill these Fire Divine Palace fellows first. Chen Shang was secretly furious in his heart. Fire Divine Palace was a force of the human realm, but now they had to join hands with the fierce demons to attack the human realm. Once this group of demons reached the Chen Martial Continent, all they had to do was leave and it would be easy to control them. I can't sense the presence of the Immortal King, but the Immortal Monarch that cultivates the divine way is here. Long Shui said. Looks like I can only let Baizan come over first. Chen Shang looked at the underground plaza and sneered in his heart, you guys dug a good grave yourselves. Of course, Chen Shang really wanted to destroy this place in one breath, but the array protecting this place was very strong, even Immortal King would not be able to destroy it. Let the 500 life-roaming crossbow guards kill their elites first, and then send the disciples of the other sects over to deal with the demon using their combat skills. Chen Shang believed that, in this place, only the elites of the Fire Divine Palace was a huge threat. If those demons were to face a person who was proficient in the art of beheading demons, they would become extremely weak. Chen Shang quietly turned into a devil cultivator, walked to a resting place on the side, and then slowly approached the area where the group of Fire Divine Palace disciples were. At the same time, he used his communication jade symbol paper to transmit messages, telling those who had been waiting a long time, that the great battle was about to begin. Senior Bison, come over here first. There's a very powerful immortal monarch here, you might have to make a move when the time comes. Chen Shang sent a message to Bison. Bison brought 32 white tigers over, 2 of them were old white tigers, they were very strong as well, and as for the 30 young white tigers, they were not weak either. Long Shui had said it before, these white tigers would basically all be able to return alive, unless very strong people attack them. Bison and the 2 old white tigers would definitely stop them. On the other side of the dragon subduing school, the 500 people held onto Death Haunting Arrow, stood in the same transmission array as Bison and waited for Chen Shang to use the formation plate to guide them over. When the disciples of the Fire Divine Palace saw that one of them had reached the boundary, they immediately frowned. The boundary was wide, with a distance of over 100 feet, the demons would not be able to enter into this boundary, and some of the Fire Divine Palace disciples had already shouted out loudly. Chen Shang immediately stopped, but the Fire Divine Palace disciples still took action, a long sword shooting over. The Fire Divine Palace disciples all had a teasing smile on their faces, as though they were hunting their prey, thinking that they could kill their prey with one strike. But the sword was actually waved away by Chen Shang, and when he waved his hand, it released a ray of golden light, which immediately expanded out and turned into a wave, rippling towards the monsters. The monsters that were swept away by the light immediately turned into white ashes, as though they had been cleansed. The devil-suppressing holy power that Chen Shang used was not a joke, it was the super strong flames that he had just leveled up. It was easier to kill these demons than ants. Seeing this scene, the disciples of Fire Divine Palace were stunned. The demons were also stunned. Chen Shang then took out the array disc, and placed it at the place where it was cleared out. The array disc appeared, and quickly expanded. It was around 100 meters wide, and Chen Shang was also shocked by the array disc. He never thought that Divine Weapons Heavenly Country would produce it so quickly. He suspected that Divine Weapons Heavenly Country had already refined it long ago, and had only processed it slightly. When the array disc appeared, it immediately became the largest. Before anyone could react, it lit up with a bright white light, then 500 death-haunting arrows appeared, followed by the black-clothed man who had already finished condensing the innate chi poison arrow. Bison and Duan Chong followed beside him. Kill! Chen Shang roared, and those 500 black-clothed men immediately jumped out of the array disc, and shot their death-haunting arrow towards the group of Fire Divine Palace disciples who had just reacted. These black-clothed men were all trained, their bodies were all strong and powerful, they all had pills in their mouths, and they also brought some with them. What they wanted to do was to quickly release innate chi, so that the innate chi could absorb the poison from the bottle on top of the death-haunting arrow, condensing it into a powerful innate chi poison arrow. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The tens of thousands of people were already blocked, attacking, and dodging, but none of them could get close. As long as they were hit by the poison arrows, they would immediately lose their ability to attack. In just a short moment, the bodies of many disciples from the Fire Divine Palace had exploded into bursts of black blood, and the entire ground was filled with a pungent smell. At this time, the demons also attacked, and the transmission array plate lit up again. This sudden group of disciples from the Dragon Subduing School were led by Yun Xiaodao, Zhu Rong, XV Weilong, Teng Ying, Lian Mingdong, and the team led by them. Each of them had around 10,000 points of strength, and the moment they appeared, they rushed towards the direction where the evil demon chi was extremely dense. Within this underground palace, roars and screams filled the air. Killing intent surged in the air, and the scene was extremely intense. More and more people started to be transferred over. The Divine Weapon Sect, Icy Wind Valley, Super Martial School, Lotus Island, and those people from the White Tiger fighting race. In a short period of time, hundreds of thousands of elite disciples were being transferred over. You bastards! An angry roar rang out, carrying a berserk pressure with it. Some people were so shocked that they vomited blood. The immortal monarch who trained in the divine way was about to attack. Chapter 1258. The immortal monarch only knew that there were people ambushing this place, but when he came out, he saw that most of the Fire Divine Palace's disciples were lying on the ground, and their bodies had exploded one after another into a pool of blood. He was enraged, and with a wave of his hand, he used Fire Cloud Palm. Just when everyone felt the terrifying pressure, a strong killing intent appeared out of nowhere, and Bison also took action, transforming into a white shadow. He instantly appeared above and punched at the gigantic flame palm. The White Tiger fighting race's berserk power exploded out like a white tiger's roar, causing the entire plaza to shake slightly. The destruction of the Fire Cloud Palm by Bison's fist caused the immortal monarch to be extremely shocked. he never thought that his opponent would have such a powerful expert. It was very possible that this place would be destroyed. Bai Zan was also afraid of hurting his own people, so he immediately ran to a place far away, then the immortal monarch would naturally chase after him. If he could severely injure one of the then that would be a great accomplishment, although many of Fire Divine Palace's disciples would be killed by him. The disciples that were transferred from the Chen martial continent had all learned the demon-subduing martial arts, especially the core students and teacher-level experts of the Devil-subduing college. They were even more powerful. Yu Lan, where's Shenxian? Hasn't she come? In the midst of the chaos, Chen Shang suddenly saw Lang Yulan. Her white hair was extremely eye-catching. Furthermore, this violent dragon girl was extremely savage. Wherever the big sword in her hand went, blood and flesh would immediately fly everywhere. Lang Yulan had held it in for a long time. The divine weapon's heavenly country had been attacked multiple times. All they could do was resist, but now it was finally their turn to retaliate. She's over there with a group of people. Lang Yulan hurriedly replied. Chen Shang shook his head, looking for Shui Shenxian, and indeed saw Shui Shenxian bringing a few older rancor, specially looking for stronger spirit demons to kill. This could prevent the stronger spirit demons from attacking the weaker disciples. We have to get rid of these demons as soon as possible. Chen Shang thought, and took out the green dragon demon-slain broadsword. The green dragon demon-slain broadsword that was hiding in the snow for a long time suddenly appeared, and sensed such a strong demonic aura, it immediately became excited. The blade slightly trembled, and released wave after wave of low and low dragon roars filled with might. Many people here knew that the terrifying aura that suddenly appeared was from the green dragon demon-slain broadsword. The one who planned the ambush was Chen Shang, but only a few knew of it, and the people who came here were all clan elders of the sects who were familiar with Chen Shang, as well as a few elite disciples. Chen Shang suddenly appeared here, and the surprise attack was so smooth, everyone immediately understood that it must be because Chen Shang was here. Furthermore, upon seeing Lang Yulan and Shui Shenxian, they immediately understood that they had all been faking death, luring the Fire Divine Palace to attack the Divine Weapon's heavenly country on purpose and then lying in ambush halfway there. Taking out the green dragon demon-slain broadsword meant that Chen Shang had revealed his identity. At this moment, many demons were extremely terrified. The sealed Chen Shang actually appeared here, and the demons knew that the Fire Divine Palace's seal had failed. Chen Zhang's body flickered with holy light. Just the aura of the devil-suppressing holy power from his body was enough to melt some of the weaker demons. Quickly kill him, one of the devil cultivator roared, and rushed towards Chen Shang. In just an instant, dozens of Nirvana Realm devil cultivators rushed towards Chen Shang from all directions, and even let out terrifying cries from their mouths, as if they wanted to swallow Chen Shang whole. With a stomp of his feet, a Tai Chi formed from golden light suddenly appeared under Chen Zhang's feet. It quickly spun, and after the incoming devil cultivator stepped into the Tai Chi diagram, the green dragon demon-slain broadsword in Chen Zhang's hands stabbed into the ground, and then several green dragon demon-slain broadsword came out from the ground, spinning with someone on the Tai Chi diagram. The devil cultivators that entered the array were all smashed into pieces. This was because Chen Shang had used the power of the spatial laws to duplicate the green dragon demon-slain broadsword that was stabbed into the ground. Dozens of Nirvana Realm devil cultivators instantly turned into a large piece of meat. Some of the stronger demons in the distance saw this and felt a cold shiver down their spines, as they did not dare approach Chen Shang. When the others saw this scene, they felt that Chen Shang had become even more powerful. They didn't know what Chen Shang had been doing for the past decade, and what he had become so terrifying. Seize his divine blade. While speaking, a red blood shadow suddenly leapt towards Chen Shang. It's the 7 blood bat demons. Chen Shang is dead for sure. The 7 blood bats are all from the demon immortal grade. They are fast, have fierce attacks, and can suck his blood in an instant. A demon sneered. Sensing that there were actually 7 dangerous auras pressing down on him, Chen Shang laughed coldly in his heart. If it was before, he might have felt a lot of pressure if he still had not cultivated body of heavenly sage, but with his current physical strength, he could stand shoulder to shoulder with a worldly immortal. He was not afraid even if he was in the late stage of the worldly immortal stage, let alone these demons. If it was a demon, it would be easier to kill. Chen Shang suddenly took out a copper mirror. As soon as the copper mirror appeared, Chen Shang poured a lot of devil-suppressing holy power into it, causing the copper mirror to look like a small blazing sun. Using devil-suppressing mirror is enough to deal with these guys. Chen Shang threw the devil-suppressing mirror in his hands into the air, and the light released by the holy light shining mirror shrouded Chen Zhang's entire body, as if it was a golden domain. Chen Shang controlled the devil-suppressing mirror with his god power and shot 7 rays of light into the body of the Bloodbat 7 goblin. The Bloodbat 7 goblins were accurately hit before they could even get close to Chen Shang. The holy light might not kill them, but it made them feel extremely uncomfortable, causing their speed to become much slower. Just as they stopped, Chen Shang disappeared. When he appeared, one of the Bloodbat demons had already been broken by his hand that was emitting the holy demon suppression light. The fusion of the devil-suppressing holy power and body of heavenly sage made the demon even more powerless to retaliate in front of Chen Shang. Demons, you want to get the Chen martial continent, you are too naive, you are just fools used by the Fire Divine Palace. Even if the Fire Divine Palace takes the Chen martial continent down, you don't even get a fart. These Bloodbat demons were unable to defend against Chen Zhang's sudden disappearance and appearance. In the blink of an eye, another one was killed by Chen Shang with a single palm. When the sealed Chen Shang came out, not only did he not become weaker, he became even stronger. With just his power alone, he killed the famous Bloodbat 7 goblin, Demon Realm. They retreated, and let me deal with them. You all going to kill Chen Shang is equivalent to suicide. Don't you all know that he has cultivated devil-suppressing holy power? He still has devil-suppressing holy power and green dragon demon slain broadsword with him. Even if Demon Lord comes, he would probably be injured. An old man whose entire body was covered in blazing flames landed in front of Chen Shang. His entire cannon was wildly dancing, and his eyes were blazing with fire. It's the Fire Divine Palace again. Chen Shang released his divine power, enveloping a large area of demons. After that, he slashed down, and countless green dragon demon slain broadsword suddenly appeared out of thin air, slashing onto the demons that were locked on by Chen Zhang's divine power. In but a single blow, more than 100,000 monsters had perished. Using the space laws really consumes a lot. Chen Shang knew that the power of the spatial laws could be used in many different ways. Not only could it be used to dodge, it could also be used to attack in a large area. Little rascal, do you really think that you can win against us here today? You guys came here today just to die, you're overestimating yourselves. Don't think that our Fire Divine Palace only has this much power, the old man said angrily. The old man here is from the late period of human immortal, do you need help? Long Shui asked. Not now. The old man had already launched his attack. His first attack was a very fierce one. Countless fist-sized palms came flying towards him. The powerful palm along with the powerful flames created a huge crater on the ground. Within a circumference of 300 meters, it was enveloped by countless fire palms. Veins popped out on the elder's forehead as he frantically attacked Chen Shang. Seeing that the Fire Divine Palace warriors were about to attack Chen Shang, many demons felt at ease. At this time, in a few caves at the side of the underground palace, a large group of people dressed in the clothes of Fire Divine Palace suddenly ran out. The heavyweight of the fiendish demons is here. Chen Shang rushed out of the sea of flames, waved his green dragon demon slain broadsword and slashed at the old man. Kanglang slash, lightning slash, and angry dragon slay struck out continuously, and the old man could only block them all in the face of this berserk attack. Chapter 1259, Old Dog, I don't have time to play with you here. I can only send you on your way. Chen Shang activated his ground killing, and the earth suddenly started to shake violently. The ground started to shake crazily, and all of the shaking power that exploded out from the ground rushed into Chen Zhang's body. Boom! Chen Shang waved his blade and attacked ferociously, like lightning. The old man from Fire Divine Palace was shocked when he saw the situation. He did not have time to dodge and could only use the greatsword in his hand to block. The power of the earthquake was one of the scariest powers on earth, but Chen Shang was able to use this power right now. It could absorb this power into his own body, and then release it to shake a single target. Ka! Before the sword in the old man's hand could touch Chen Zhang's divine blade, it was shattered by the formless ripple. When the divine blade swung down, the old man could only release all the innate qi in his body, forming a defensive barrier. An incomparably violent shockwave landed on the old man's body. The ground immediately cracked like a spider web, and the shockwave and sound waves crushed the surrounding corpses into dust. He knew that Chen Shang had not gone through the 9 Nirvana tribulation. The current DTN, after going through the 9 Nirvana tribulation, would definitely ascend to heaven realm. No matter how strong Chen Shang was, he would not be able to avoid this rule. What he did not know was that Chen Zhang's fleshly body would have already transcended the mortal realm and become a saint's body. Although it was only at the initial body of heavenly sage, with the other powers on Chen Zhang's body, he would be able to compete with the experts of the late period of human immortal. After Chen Shang unleashed his blade, he knew that the old man in front of him was not ordinary. Just by using the innate chi on him, he was able to block his attack. "Let's see how many moves you can block," Chen Shang shouted, and the ground shook again as he transmitted a strong vibration to Chen Zhang's body. Chen Shang slashed down again, releasing the vibrating power that was entering his body. Seeing that Chen Shang had such brutal strength, the demon powerhouses who had come to reinforce him did not dare to come closer. The green dragon demon slain broadsword in Chen Zhang's hand was their nightmare, not to mention them, even the powerful fire divine palace had no choice but to be continuously attacked by Chen Shang and could only resist. Chen Zhang's crazy attacks hacked at the old man time and time again, all using the seismic power from the ground killing. Adding the power of his body of heavenly sage, he might attack the old man with his life, but he did not believe that he would not be able to break through the old man's defense. This little bastard is really giving it his all. The old man was extremely shocked. Chen Zhang's every blade did not show any signs of his strength weakening, and he was getting stronger and stronger. Seeing Chen Shang being able to escape the seal, the Divine Way Immortal Monarch in the distance was extremely shocked, because he was very clear on the power of the seal formation. He quickly thought about what had happened all these years and guessed that it was related to Chen Shang, while the hall master of his fire divine palace was like a silly hat that had been bitterly guarding the place for many years. Little bastard, the immortal monarch could not help but curse. He pointed his finger at Chen Shang and released a hot stream of flames that entered Chen Zhang's body in the blink of an eye. "Someone like you, hurry up and die. You don't even know what your cultivation is, you're actually plotting against someone so much weaker than you." Bai Zhan was furious, a set of white armor suddenly appeared on his body, his eyes were completely red, his fist had also turned into a pair of big tiger claws, the sharp claws seemed to be able to tear apart everything. What shocked the immortal monarch the most was the tiger tail on Bai Zhan's waist. Adding the killing intent on Bai Zhan, he knew the background of this old man whose killing intent was so berserk. White tiger fighting race, and one of the super strong ones at that. Not giving the immortal monarch time to think, Bai Zhan's claws had already reached over, digging out a few wounds on his arm that could even touch bones. Bai Zhan was furious. After transforming, his power had increased a lot as he attacked the immortal monarch fiercely on Chen Zhang's side. After he was ambushed by the immortal monarch, he was only sent flying. His body was very strong, and with the protection of the profound Wu diamond armor, he didn't receive any injuries. Seeing that Chen Shang was sent flying, the old man immediately rushed forward, releasing all the energy in his body into his fist and struck towards Chen Shang. The intense heat caused some of the demon corpses in the distance to be burnt to ashes. "It's great that you're here." Facing such a powerful punch, Chen Shang did not feel any fear. At the same time, he welcomed the punch with his own. The two fists collided, and a huge fireball appeared, covering a radius of several hundred meters. The semicircle of flames in the air were like a giant mushroom, and the entire underground palace was engulfed by the heat wave. After the old man threw a punch earlier, he did not harm Chen Shang and was extremely furious. At this moment, he felt that his body was slightly cold and he wouldn't be able to disperse the heat in his body even if he were to trigger it. After Chen Shang saw that his opponent had been hit by his hail magic wind, he immediately withdrew his green dragon demon slain broadsword. If he had to use the green dragon demon slain broadsword to attack directly, even if he could defeat his opponent, he would have to expend a lot of energy. Right now, many people were waiting for him to use up most of his energy before besieging him. How dare you underestimate me? When the old man saw Chen Shang keeping the green dragon demon slain broadsword, he was immediately enraged and was about to punch. However, Chen Shang had already rushed over extremely quickly, and his punches were even faster than his. His fists were like countless of lightning, and when his fists landed on the body of the elderly man, he released true berserk lightning. At the same time, he imbued traces of hail magic wind into the elderly man's body. The hail magic wind only numbed the old man's feelings and consciousness, causing him to think that he was sealed in ice. At the same time, he would also feel cold, so cold that he couldn't release his powers, but the old man wouldn't discover it, he would only feel a cold energy invading his body, thus he would constantly incite fire energy to expel the cold. After a series of crazy punches, the old man was already shivering from the cold. This must be, it's the hail magic wind. This old man could be considered very knowledgeable. After confirming it, he started with his own consciousness, but the problem was that he didn't have the time to do so. That's right, but it's too late for you to recognize him now. Chen Zhang's palm landed on the old man's chest hastily. This was the power of the bone-melting magic palm. It directly melted away half of the old man's body, causing his bones to soften. If it was before, it would definitely be difficult for Chen Zhang to get to him using the bone-melting magic palm, because the opponent's innate chi was truly very strong and could defend himself. But after being invaded by the hail magic wind into his consciousness, the old man's entire body was paralyzed by ice and it was difficult for him to activate the innate chi. Without the bones, the old man's body would not be able to hold up and break together. Even if he could circulate the powerful innate chi in his body, he would not be able to unleash its full power. Fire Divine Palace will definitely disappear from DTN today. Chen Zhang called out the divine blade, and slashed at the elderly man on the ground, using the power of earthquake, adding the huge force of the divine blade. The divine blade could not even touch the elderly man's body, and had shattered him into pieces. Dead, many of the Fire Divine Palace's disciples felt a chill in their hearts. One must know that the old man was a stronger elder beneath the immortal monarch of the divine way. After killing the old man, Chen Zhang ran over to Leng Yulin's side, because some strong demon powerhouses were attacking her. Yulin, I'll come help you. Chen Zhang leapt over, chopped off the arm of a devil cultivator who was swinging his sword, and then came to Leng Yulin's side. Bro, are you okay? So many strong guys were cut by you, you're really amazing. Leng Yulin also did not expect Chen Zhang to be even more brutal than she was. Yulan, don't hide anymore. Reveal all your strength. I believe you won't just have this little bit of strength. Chen Zhang laughed. Leng Yulin had the white dragon vein, and her white dragon vein had already been awakened, so she also had some memory inheritances. However, she had not used any of them here, so it could be seen that she was hiding them. Leng Yulin laughed loudly. Brother, watch carefully, don't be scared by me. After that, a burst of white light lit up Leng Yulin's body, the big sword in her hand turned into a coiling dragon white longsword, the tattered armor on her body had disappeared, and a set of snow-white awe-inspiring armor that looked like a dragon had appeared. Her white hair was decorated with dragons, making her look extremely tyrannical and majestic, especially the tyrannical dragon chi that was emitted from her body, making people think that she was a dragon. Chapter 1260. The sudden appearance of Leng Yulin gave Chen Zhang a big fright, especially the aura of the dragon power that she was releasing. It was extremely powerful. After transforming, Leng Yulin's strength had increased by a lot. When he brandished the greatsword and attacked the demon Dao experts, the powerful sword chi that came out left bloody marks on the bodies of the demon Dao experts. Seeing that Leng Yulin had that kind of strength, Chen Zhang was no longer worried. After killing the few devil Dao innates, he ran towards the group of Fire Divine Palace innates, all of them brandishing his divine blade, forming a bloody path, killing a large amount of spirit demon beings. The reinforcements coming from the Fire Divine Palace were also very strong. After feeling the pressure, Teng Ying and Xiao Chou also released their strongest power, causing Teng Ying to transform into a Kylan Thunder Eagle. He flapped his steel wings, and his stiff wings shot out like a short arrow, engulfing the group of demons like a storm, killing them in an instant. On the other hand, Xiao Chou turned into a giant, using his great strength race spirit chi. He punched the ground. The force of the punch could shake all the demons in the area to death. The power was extremely terrifying. Not good, there's a very strong guy approaching Yulan. Long Shui suddenly shouted out, and then she left the ring. Leng Yulin's body had white dragon vein. In Long Shui's eyes, it was equivalent to being her family. With Long Shui personally coming out, Chen Zhang did not have to worry, and now, the people from the Fire Divine Palaces that came out from the depths of the Heavy Earth Palace were all quite strong. Therefore, Chen Zhang had to stay here and stop this group of people. At the same time, he also called for White Tiger Fighting Race's group of young white tigers to kill these demons. To these white tigers, killing them was not a challenge at all. With White Tiger Fighting Race joining them, Chen Zhang became much more relaxed. The people of Fire Divine Palace were also blocked and were fighting against Chen Zhang and the others. Long Shui came out of the ring and immediately came to Leng Yulin's side. Just as she arrived, a short and skinny person came flying over. It was actually a demon, and one that was extremely strong at that. Damn smelly bird, you're so amazing, you actually dare to bully a little girl. Long Shui bellowed. He waved his hand and released a red light that struck the short elder. Leng Yulin also felt the scariness of the short elder, and at the same time, was curious about the identity of the woman who suddenly appeared beside her. After the short elder dodged the ray of light, he said in shock, "Could it be that you are the very high elder?" When Long Shui killed the 3 dragon-slaying clan members who came to provoke him, his reputation rose greatly. The dragon-subduing schools seemed to be more powerful than the great clan elder, and thus, caused many people to pay attention to him. "You do know me, my aunt." A white sword appeared in Long Shui's hands. She shook it lightly, and the sound of the sword rose up like the roar of a dragon, releasing a white light that made the surrounding demons feel even worse than when they were facing the devil-suppressing holy power. "What is this?" The short elder had the strength of a late-stage demon immortal, but this sword made him feel incomparable fear. Chen Shang could also feel the power of the sword from afar. "It must be the white dragon sword, and this little naughty dragon tricked me saying that she lost it." It was clearly by her side. Long Shui gently waved the white dragon sword in his hand, seemingly very casually and simply, but he released thousands of gigantic white dragons, which intertwined together and rushed towards the old man, forming a gigantic white wave that soared to the sky, slapping the ground to cover him completely. Long Shui continuously brandished the white dragon sword in his hand, and waves after waves of white dragon waves rushed out like monstrous waves, drowning a large portion of the plaza. But strangely, only the demons who were already at Fire Divine Palace would be affected by that kind of power, and the others would not be harmed at all. Just with a few moves from Long Shui, majority of the demons in the plaza had already been cleaned up and turned into dust by Long Shui's strange and terrifying power. "I knew that this little naughty dragon was very powerful, otherwise she would have let me down. I fed her a lot of food." Chen Shang thought in his heart. The dragon tide that Long Shui had released all came to him as well, and all of the disciples of the Fire Divine Palace were killed, leaving only white ashes. Only some of the stronger demons had not suffered, but when they saw that their opponent had such a powerful being, their hearts filled with fear. "This is the legendary Very High Elder. A woman is actually this powerful. It looks like we'll win this time." At this time, some people felt much more relaxed and began to discuss in low voices. Leng Yulin looked at Long Shui, speechless, and she didn't know why. Long Shui stroked her white hair and laughed. "Work harder, you still have a long way to go." Leng Yulin nodded. She could clearly tell now that the woman in front of her was a dragon, and a white dragon at that. She had a huge relationship with her, and ever since she awakened her white dragon vein, she knew that the white dragon bloodline was extraordinary even after obtaining the inherited memories. Long Shui disappeared in a flash and returned to Chen Zhang's ring. Just now, she had released such a big move, she must have consumed a lot of energy, so she was in a hurry to go back and eat to replenish her energy. "Yulin, are you alright?" Shui Shenxian walked over to Leng Yulin's side. Seeing that Leng Yulin had changed into such a state, she was also shocked. "What could have happened to me? It's you, senior sister, who is covered in so much blood. Are you hurt?" the normally crude Leng Yulin asked worriedly. "It's all someone else's blood. I'm fine." Shui Shenxian laughed and continued, "Let's go together." Long Shui's previous move had let everyone heave a sigh of relief. They had all gathered together and rushed towards the group of demons, and the people from Fire Divine Palace were almost all dead. Chen Shang rushed at the front and used his green dragon demon slain broadsword S and holy devil suppressing seal S to attack the demon leaders. No matter how strong the demon powerhouses were, they felt powerless in front of these 2 divine instruments that specialized in suppressing demons. It had only been more than 2 hours, but of the tens of millions of demons, only a few million were left. "Stop!" A burst of strong light suddenly appeared in the square that was filled with the aura of death. Following that, he saw a large group of Fire Divine Palace people standing on an array disc. It was actually the Hall Master of the Fire Divine Palace and Wang Chongjin. The 2 immortal kings of the Fire Divine Palace had come, but most of the Fire Divine Palace disciples here were already dead. Bai Zan immediately retracted his hand and came to the side of Chen Zhang's group. At this moment, Chen Zhang's group was more than 30 meters away from Fire Divine Palace, and both sides were filled with killing intent. The demons behind Fire Divine Palace's group shouted as they escaped. Fire Divine Palace's palace master looked at Chen Shang, who was holding onto a green dragon demon slain broadsword, his expression extremely ugly. He did not know when Chen Shang came out, and even though he had guarded there for more than 10 years, Chen Shang still ran out without him even knowing. When did you come out? This was something that the palace mistress wanted to know the most. Similarly, everyone else also wanted to know. The second year after I was sealed, I came out. Chen Shang said lightly. Don't worry, I won't treat you as an idiot. You being able to stand guard there for 10 years, I still admire you a lot. Although Chen Shang said this, it was to tell the palace master that you are a fool. Everyone was secretly laughing in their hearts. He had only been sealed for 2 years, but he had guarded this spot for over 10 years. Of course, the reason why Chen Shang lied just now was to piss off this palace master. Wang Chongjin asked with overflowing anger. You were the one who did this to Sacred Fire School. Chen Shang had already heard from Su Meiyao that the Immortal King in the Sacred Fire School was Wang Chongjin's little lover. The matters in the Sacred Fire School were indeed done by him, and he even killed the Immortal King. That was why he immediately denied it. It has nothing to do with me, I really did plan to make a move on the Sacred Fire School. I stayed nearby for a while, and found that it was difficult to make a move, but in the end, it was destroyed by the Divine Devil Cult. Divine Devil Cult. At that time, they suspected that it was the Divine Devil Cult who did it, and after the Divine Devil Cult killed their people, and now that Chen Shang said it, they believed it silently. The Divine Devil Cult had already been eliminated, and there was no way to prove it now. Therefore, Chen Shang decided to blame the Divine Devil Cult for this, although killing the Immortal King was a glorious thing, but it would bring Chen Shang a lot of trouble. Especially now, there were 2 Immortal Kinges in front of him, and one of them was the deceased Immortal King's lover.